Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to J is for Justice Friday Night Live. Good to see all of you guys in chat. Sorry for the delay, but we have some awesome information tonight, and I have an awesome guest. Everybody welcome Nils the Iron Wolf to panel. Thank you for joining tonight.
Thank you for having me. Skål.
Now, what is that? Skull?
Skål, yes.
Skull. He was teaching me backstage, guys. So, Nils, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, which is really interesting, and why you're here. Why this intrigued you?
So my name is Nils. I am from Borås, Sweden. So in Scandinavia. Moved to America when I was about 11, and been back and forth between Sweden and America. Because of our ancestral heritage and our lineage, I am a Norse pagan. We're also called heathens. There's different sects, just like there is with Christianity. Christianity has Catholics and Romans and Roman Catholics and Presbyterians, Methodists, things like that. So, and Norse paganism is no different. So it's just a generalized term for Norse pagan. And we believe in the old gods of Scandinavia and the old Proto-Germanic gods of Northern Europe.
Okay, it's interesting, and like I told you before we went live, I know nothing about that. So you were kind enough to send me this picture to kind of talk about your traditions, or I guess, what would you call this? A tradition?
So yes, this is a tradition. It's a couple thousand years old. So in Swedish, it's vanto ljustaken or vanto ljusversen. In Old Norse, it's known as Årsvatten, which means the sun's weight, or in English, simply we call it sun weight. And it's a 6-week countdown between what we call Veternater, which means winter nights. In America, in Canada, they know it as Halloween. And between there and Yule, which is our tradition for the Christmas season. It's one of the oldest, and there's many traditions today, even in America, that people still do to celebrate, like the Yule log or the Christmas tree. Um, Decorating the Christmas tree and feasting was one of the big things with Yule. The only difference is ours lasted 12 days. It started on the winter solstice and lasted 12 days, so you got the presents pretty much every day. But feasting and drinking was part of it as well.
Is gift giving part of it?
Yes. And they were practical gifts. So they weren't gifts of what you would think today, like an iPhone. If it was still held the same in modern times, which we still practice. We give practical gifts. So my ancestors in the Old Norse ways, the best gift you could give someone was like a reindeer hide, or a blanket, because they could keep warm in the wintertime.
Nice. Well, those sound like nice gifts, Nils. I mean, I've heard so many scary things about, pagans, like, oh, they worship the devil, and they're, like you said, heathens. Like, we joke around and say that person's a heathen. So it doesn't sound like paganism is really an evil thing.
No, there's many virtues and principles based on honor, integrity, character, justice, uh, within all pagans. Of course, you have bad apples, like you do with any faith. Uh,
Sure.
but with ours, I mean, we were, and especially in Scandinavia with the Old Norse, so that we were basically ahead of our time with equality, where women and men were considered equal, and there was equal laws that were given. So, like, a man did not have dominion over a woman, and in our belief. And my family today, we still hold that true. Like, if you struck a woman, you would be held accountable. If you struck her 3 times, that was grounds for divorce, and she could literally be offered your land by the law speakers, the lawgivers, and you could be cast out into the wilderness, and you would be considered a criminal. And when that happens, and you're cast out away from your town or village, then you
Mm-hmm.
are fair game. They could hunt you and kill you legally.
Wow.
Yeah,
I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
yeah,
And, I mean, I guess it's kind of interesting to me, a little off topic, but it doesn't seem to have made the man's man any less of a man to live that way.
correct. It kept everyone in line,
Yeah, right? I mean, that's
and it held
amazing.
you. Yes, and it held men to the a higher standard, a standard that they were supposed to be as as protectors.
Okay, so thank you for giving us that baseline. KDK is rolling us right into what we're
Ooh,
here for, right? So
right off the
Nils
bat.
is a pagan. Yes, I'm like, why not? We'll just get it right out there in the open. So let me explain my title first and foremost. I knew that most people, the general person, wouldn't understand. Hey, let's talk to a pagan about Delphi and Odinism. So that's why I put one on one with a real Odinist. And he's like, whoa, whoa, hold up, wait a minute. I'm not an Odinist. And I said, I know, I know. And I will change that. But I didn't really even understand what to change it to until I was able to have my discussion with you, Nils. So you're educating me so that I can educate my audience. And I appreciate you for that. So
Oh,
KDK,
absolutely.
take it, Nils.
S- So Katie, a Nodinist is basically a Norse pagan. It's the same with uh, Jennifer when she told me I did not know, and that's like, well, technically Odinists are Norse pagans. So just the same as you have Presbyterians, Methodists, Catholics in the Christian Church, it's the same in Norse paganism. We have Odinists. We have just your general heathen. We have those from Ausatru, which uh, they worshipped like the Asir tribe of the old gods. There's two tribes, Asir and Vanir, and then you have Vanatru. So the Asir is like Odin, Thor, Heimdall, Vidar, and many others. And then your Vanatru would be like Njordr, Freya, Frey, you know, those gods. So then you have your followers of Loki. We call Lokians, and I mean, there's just so many different branches, just like any other faith. So I just identify as a Norse pagan. No, I'm not an Odinist. The reason I'm not an Odinist is Odinism. You hear the term Odinites, and that was something that was started by the American media, and specifically what's going on with this case. So Odinists was started in the UK in 1973 by two people that were white supremacists. Uh,
Really?
yes, and would not, and it was only exclusive to men. They would not allow women, which is wrong in as a global
Jerks.
belief of Norse paganism. So it became more popular in prisons in the UK and especially in America because they still segregate willingly. I can't understand why, but they still do it in America. The races segregate. So Odinism was popular in American prisons to protect white prisoners. So they would band together as a group. So overall, in the Norse pagan belief nationwide, Odinists are not uh, the best people. And I've had people that have seen me wear my Mjolnir, and this is not the only pendant that I wear. Um, have asked me, "Am I an Odinist?" And right then, I know that those people have been to prison because that's the only exposure to Norse paganism that they've had. So I tell them, "No, I am a heathen."
This is so crazy. Wow. Okay, so let me unpack what you just said.
Mhm.
Odinism started in 1973, so it's not even something that goes back to like Vikings and stuff like we thought. But
Correct.
it so what is Odinism based off of? Like how did they come up with it? Just
So there's supposed to be 9 virtues, which are modern things that Odinists and their right, I guess, is the best way to say, to come up with, as they're still white supremacists, though, which is just nerve wracking. But to basically, they focus on only the All Father, which is Odin himself, who is considered the father of the gods.
Interesting. Okay. I'm being told my audio is low. Is it low for you? Is that sound any
I can hear you
louder?
just fine.
You can hear
I
me
can hear
fine?
I can hear you just fine. It might be YouTube.
Yeah, it might be. You guys can let me know in chat if it's a little bit better now. I've seen it twice. So, all right. So interesting. We have someone in chat whose sister is North Pagan and has been taught all her life or was taught by her grandmother. But
Mm,
back to the prison thing. So,
hmm.
bringing it to Delphi before we get into the symbolism that was brought up in the case. It's interesting that you say it's rampant in prisons. So, would it
Yes.
be like a fancy name for like white supremacists instead of calling themselves Nazis or Aryan nation, whatever the heck they are? Isn't it Aryan Brotherhood or something? Instead of using
Yeah.
those, is it just another kind of term they adopted just to
Yeah.
be
It was just another
racist?
white supremacist group that maybe they didn't agree with everything from the Aryan Nation, or they didn't agree with neo Nazis, or there's another group I can't remember the name of it, but they're just as bad. That they decided, hey, we're going to go with this because it's not very well known. So to kind of stand out and hey, look at us type of
Have
thing.
their own thing,
Yes, and they're taking the
similar but
beliefs
different.
of my ancestors in that old faith and misconstruing it for
Yeah.
that. And you'll have your bad apples everywhere. I've ran into a few
Yeah,
in
yeah, but
America.
now you've got it in the mainstream media, Nils.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
that
And
struck some chords among your fellow pagans.
yes, every Norse pagan community is talking about this right now because we don't want to see that as a aspect as negativity towards our faith. So it's the same as you walk up and you see a Muslim, you don't say, automatically, oh, you're a terrorist. It's the same with us as we don't want people to see us in that bad light because that's not who we truly are.
I don't want people to see you that way either because I love learning about other people's religions because I don't believe that there's one right way. I'm all about like respect of people's cultures and their religions and what they believe. And I think what you believe is so important to who you are that I love learning about that. And I hate seeing that, something that isn't evil and nasty that is now being portrayed as evil and nasty. And I'm
Hmm.
glad that I can, at least with my small platform, try to clear that up because it's not fair. I mean, you're a very nice guy. You're very educated, and it's not fair to have people look at you that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's,
So,
for example, like the candle picture that you had on there, that we have runes on those candles, but they're not negative things
yeah, go through those real quick and then we'll get
for
into
sun weight.
the other ones.
Okay, so for Vato juice talk, we'll just call it sun weight. It literally means Orzvat means the sun's weight. So that six
The sun's
week count,
weight.
the sun's weight, which is the six
Okay.
week countdown, and we just call it sun weight for short in English. Uh, that it's a 6 week countdown between Halloween, October 31st, and Yule, which starts for us on December 21st on the winter solstice. So from left to right, every Thursday, a candle is lit, a poem is recited. Now, the reason Thursdays are important is because it was known as Tortoise Helg, which means Thor's hallow. Thor, of course, being the protector of mankind as a son of Odin. And so those were considered the nights of trolldom or folk magic, known in our belief. So, of course, you see the rune on the left on the first candle is Fehu. Fehu is a abundance and wealth, sorry. So we recite the poem for the return of the Queen of the Skies in the spring, the return of the sun in the warmth. And then the second one to the right of that is Udrus. Udrus means Ordak. Ordak was like a Scandinavian buffalo, basically,
Ordak.
which is Ordak. Ordak. Auroch. Ordak.
Ordak. Ordak.
Yeah, they're trying to actually bring that animal back. They're trying to bring it back from extinction. So Udrus
That's
means
neat.
strength. Yes, Udrus means strength. So they're trying to let you know that whatever has passed, and you use your strength to whatever's in the future. And then on the third week, you light the third candle, which is Ansuz. Ansuz means breath. It comes from
On
Proto-Germanic
Zeus.
os. Yes. So and worshiping the gods and letting the flame rise, and the flame within you during winter. And then you have Oredo,
Oredo.
Redo, which is the R, Redo. Um,
Rado.
and with Redo, yes. And basically that tells you, which is like raid, which basically tells you that the longings to return for the sun out of winter uh, will happen. It will happen.
Mm,
So
that's good news.
don't let that strength and that longing leave you, because it's a new beginning. And then the last one is Kinos, which means enlightenment
Kinos.
in the Old Norse. And Kinos is basically as the last candle as well. And in the picture, you can see it's not lit because this was the fifth Thursday, of course. Um, that the light and the darkness will rise again on Yule. So may your hope in Yule rise again. And then, of course, our biggest bonfire of the year, our biggest fire of the year, is at Yule. So
The Yule
my
log.
children are home. Yes.
Yay. Hi, Nils children. Are they Iron Wolves too?
Actually, one is a wolf. Yes, one is a
Really?
wolf.
So what does that mean? How do
Yes.
you become an Iron Wolf? Like, how do you get that title? Do you give it to yourself? Are you born with it?
So in our family, and this is a oral tradition. This is how our stories were passed down. And people say, well, there's sagas and there's stories of your people, and they say, these Viking people. Viking was a profession. It was more of a term, um, a noun as well as a verb. So our people were Scandinavian. We were the old Nordic people or old Norse people. We weren't all Viking. Viking was basically a sea pirate. So when you hear someone say, "Oh, you're a Viking," no, I'm not a Viking. I'm a farmer.
You're a
I don't.
farmer.
I'm a farmer. I don't get on
You're
a
not
ship
a
and raid.
water guy.
No,
You're not a
no,
water guy.
no. I love the sea. I love the sea. But no, you literally they were pirates.
Interesting.
Yes. So the old term was "let's go a Viking," which let's go raiding.
So you live all off your own land, guidance says.
Yes, yes. We have a self-sustaining farm here where I live.
Get out.
So I work in an ER. And I'll get into the whole wolf thing and about the deeper side of
Okay.
paganism and myself. So, as you see here, you'll see an old wolf tattoo.
Oh, wait, let me make you bigger. How do I do that? Yes, I see.
There you go. So, yes, you'll see the wolf. So, all of the stories and traditions in our family, the ones you don't see in the sagas, the Eddas, and the old stories, were passed down from generation to generation in our family for 2,700 years. So the original story was that our family hails from the wolf blood. I'm not talking like Twilight shit. That we were what was known as Ulfhednar, which literally means wolf head. So if you've heard the term berserker, or in America they say berserker, the ones that wore the animal skins, berserker means bear skin. Ulfhednar is wolf head. So we were wolf warriors of the old times. Many of us were bodyguards for kings and things like that. And that's just a tradition because of our virtues, our strength, and our wits that have been passed down. Plus, in Norse paganism, there's four parts of oneself. There's the body, the physical self. There is your mind. There is
Mm-hmm.
your spirit, which is what we call fylgja. Every indigenous culture around the world believed in a fylgja, but they called it an animal spirit. Native
Oh
Americans,
yeah, yeah.
the Sami people, yes. So we call it the Filgia, and we have a wolf Filgia. And
So
then there
that's
was
your
Haminga,
spirit animal.
which, yes, yes. And then there's Haminga, which is luck. So whatever you put positive into the world, you will gain more luck from.
I love that. I love that. I want to celebrate Yule. It sounds I mean it just sounds so like, you hear of all these organized religions are so convoluted and distorted and perverted anymore that something the way you're saying this, it sounds so simple
Mhm.
and pure. It's not, of course every religion's going to have, its own rituals and things like that, but it just sounds very simple and just very pure. It's about being a good person, and you guys have your tribe, it sounds like, that you surround
If
yourself with in a sense.
the reason Yule was so important, especially this time of year, this is when the harvest started. So whatever you decided to plant in the spring, this is when you harvest everything, and that's your food stores for the winter. You don't get to go to Walmart, you don't get to go to Aldi or anywhere like that and get food. Whatever you grew, whatever animals you raised, that's what sustains you during winter. And many people froze to death or starved. There were high infant mortality rates. Much is the same today. So your community survived off of each other
It's
during the
awesome.
winter times. So Yule was considered a time of peace, a time of abundance, a time of wealth. So everyone could come together and feast together and drink together and party together, basically sing together, to be able to, and share food to be able to survive the winter together until the sun returns in the spring. The difference between North America and then Scandinavia is technically we have only two seasons. We have summer and winter. So this time of year is when, of course, we all know towards winter solstice from June 21st to winter solstice, this is when the nights start getting shorter.
Hmm.
And of course, Yule, the night of Yule on the 21st, when everything starts, it is the longest night and shortest day of the year. And summer solstice is the opposite. It's the longest day and shortest night of the year. So it's darker, it's colder, but we have like 6 months of just darkness. So it could be 2 o'clock in the afternoon and look like midnight in America here. But we do have moonlight to help guide us during our way. But it's very dark, it's very cold.
Hmm.
You can't grow crops in the wintertime. So it's very detrimental to rely on each other in your community in your village during those times, those ancient times, and
I love
it
that.
just yes, and it just stuck with us. That's our instinct.
And how do you I mean, how do you feel about like how Americans are? Because for the most part, they're like one for all and all for one. I mean, you could be on fire and someone might not stop and freaking help you, let alone, I mean, you got families dividing over politics, and like I have family members that don't speak to each other anymore because of Donald Trump, and I think it's the dumbest thing ever. And I mean, just what are your thoughts on things like that, as far as in your mind when you hear things like that?
Every country has problems, even my own country, and they're starting to realize that problem in Sweden and trying to correct it instantly because they tried to do the right thing and the wrong. It attracted the wrong people. Americans are probably the most grateful, wholehearted people, honestly, in the world. Because of the way that their elected officials have treated them, they've gone into a state of apathy. They've forgotten who they are, and there there is forced collectivism upon them, meaning that they have to now, instead of bonding together as a community, and there are small groups that still try to do that across the country, but they have to look out for themselves because they can't
Hmm.
afford to look out for each other. Uh,
Right.
and it's going to end up as like a tribal society as the old days, unless it's corrected. And those that are trying to correct it, and the only thing I have to tell Americans is if the media And if other politicians are going against certain politicians and they're saying that they're bad, those are the ones that you want to vote in office.
For real. The ones that they warn you about.
Because
But
they're,
usually those
because,
are the
yes,
ones that they make stuff up about, make them look bad.
yes, yes. So if the, especially if the elite, those at the top, are saying we don't
Mhm.
want this guy in office, that's the guy you want because he's fighting everybody else.
Mhm.
It
And that's
doesn't
why
matter which
he's in the
candidate you
position
believe.
he is. Yeah. Well, thank you for that insight. Let's get
You're very welcome.
into Delphi. This is so interesting.
Yes.
I could ask you tons of questions, but I know everybody wants to know about the case because we've got tons of
Oh yes.
questions lining up. So we're gonna get to your guys' questions. Go ahead and make sure you put them in the question tab at the top of the chat. Just pull it down and to go to questions, type your question in, and I will give it to Nils after we go through our discussion about Delphi. Okay, so my first question is, can anybody become a Norse pagan? Like, can I just say, "Hey Nils, I dig it. Can I how do I sign up?"
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no rite of initiation. There's no baptism. We have something that's similar to a baptism, which Christians have adopted. Part of what we used to do into modern times, which we call vatnyasa, water blessing. It was basically a baby naming ceremony where the child was in the community deemed legal, so they could
Oops.
own property if their parents died at a young age. They could uh, own or buy properties and stuff, inherit wealth from their deceased parents if they were still young, and everyone was witness to it.
You know, I'm just looking at these since I brought that up about families and stuff. Just seeing all the comments of people's families that have drifted apart, and mine did too, especially since COVID. And it's just so sad. It was like everybody went into survival mode, like you said. And I mean,
Hmm.
we'll stomp over our neighbor for the hottest toy at Walmart for Christmas. It's pretty
Yeah,
bad.
the toilet paper. You can't eat toilet paper. You don't eat that much. Boo asked a really
Oh
good
my
question. She said,
God,
"Does
where's Boo? Boo sheet?
yeah?"
This
She
one?
said, "Does do we have a church?" Okay, so we don't have a church. Some, especially in Iceland, San Francisco, it's all around the world. They have temples to the old gods, but basically our church is outside. That doesn't make us nature worshipers. We're more of like a culture nature because we lived within the resources. Our ancestors lived within the resources that which is around them, and we respected them, the spirits of the land itself, and other people. So a lot of people say, "Well, you don't have a church." No, because that was more of a Christian thing, not a pagan thing. Uh, Even with Celtic pagans, which most people know today as Wiccans, Wiccans, yes. So, which you'll find all over
Wiccans.
Europe and
Yeah.
America. Wiccans, yes. And the
So,
modern
what is
Christian
your? Do you have like an
term is
altar or
wit.
anything? Is there any kind of setup that you use?
Yes, we do have an altar. We have an indoor altar here. We have outside altars for the land spirits, and then there's one other special place, and you everyone has seen this. So this is from the Sami people, SAMI, which are the indigenous people of northern Scandinavia. So the Sami people have what they call siedas. Siedas is uh, a piece of the landscape that looks out of place. So if you've ever been hiking or camping and you go by and you're like, man, that tree looks strange, or that rock shouldn't be there, that is a siedas. By the Sami people, normally their family clans have claimed that as a sacred space that they give offerings or they meet at for like reunions or religious holidays, things like that. Um, so we have two Cietas here. Um, Damn, I should have sent you that picture earlier. One is a square stump, and another one is a limestone slab
Oh,
that
so it's not
shouldn't be
necessarily any
on our
certain.
property.
So it's not any certain material.
Yes, yes, correct. So
So
we
can
have
you
two
do make it
Cietas on
whatever
the
you
property.
want?
Yeah,
Like, do you have
we've made
rules?
offerings there. We do, especially for sacred areas. One which I will definitely send you the picture of. We have a sacred grove, which was to all pagans. There's always sacred groves. Uppsala in Sweden, north of Stockholm, was one of the largest kingdoms and one of the most well known today by scholars. Also, Druids have in Ireland and the UK, they have their groves as well. We have one here we call the Elder Grove, and there's a dirt mound called which we made called the Ancestor Mound, which we do ancestor veneration for or two on October 31st. We call it Veternatter.
A
um,
veterinator.
yes,
I
Veternatter,
like
winter
that.
nights. And there's a rune stone down there too. So what makes it sacred is you cannot spit, you cannot walk with shoes on, you can't urinate, defecate, anything like that on that area. It's completely protected.
Okay, so does your how do I ask this? Do you guys use any kind of blood as like any kind of sacrificial anything?
Uh, Back in Europe, yes. In America, they don't do it as much. The reason being is in America, a lot of new Norse pagans, the term that some pagan groups call them baby pagans, it's because they don't know much about it. The importance of this is because there is two things of your life that you cannot live without, two essences, and that's breath and blood. To make a sacrifice of your blood, that the only thing that pays that debt is a life, and specific your life. So do we do blood sacrifices? Do they do blood sacrifices in America? Some groups might. The community that I'm with in America doesn't, but a community that my cousins and many of my family with in Sweden still do. Normally, it's to an altar, an idol. Now, I take that back because we have done blood sacrifices here in the spring for our crops, but it's not human blood; it's cattle blood. So any cattle that we slaughter, we keep that blood, or you can get it from a butcher, and you get that blood, and we put it on the ground. Of course, the blood contains many minerals and nutrients. It's important for the life of the soil and for the plants to grow.
Makes sense. Totally makes sense. It is so
Yes.
interesting. It's kind of yeah, I mean it is does sound a little eerie. It does. I mean, we're not used to, dealing with blood. Like, we open up our ground hamburger meat that we get from the store and we're like, oh, there's a little pad in there that soaks up the
Mm,
blood. And we're like, ew,
yes.
throwing that away. So we have to open our minds, you guys. We're learning something new that's, different.
I can understand, Missy. It does sound eerie, and just to anyone
It
else,
does.
it sounds eerie. And I'll get into the offerings. Let me let the dog in for 1 second,
Yeah, no problem.
and
So
and
he's
I
got
will
an
explain the offerings.
okay, he's got an Australian Shepherd and a German Shepherd. I already asked, you guys. I knew that was coming next.
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't know she was outside. So
No,
for
you're fine.
offerings, yes, offerings, especially this time of year, because it's approaching in what 31, 32 days
Mhm.
for Alpha Bloat, the elf sacrifice, uh, or sacrifice to the elves, and the elves aren't the same as like Christmas elves or Lord of the Ring elves or things like that. So they live in an area called Folkvanger, uh, and Vanaheim, places like that, they are very close to your ancestors. They help them cross over. So Christians have heaven or hell. We have afterlife, multiple
Hmm.
afterlife.
Like what?
We So for those warriors that are deemed worthy and not chosen by Freya to go to Folkvanger with her, because the Allfather Odin and Freya have the first pick of those fallen in battle or in combat. So if you get into a fight with somebody at a gas station, you fight to the death, you're stabbed and killed, whatever. Then Freya can take you with her, and if she says no, I'll pass that up. The Allfather can take him with you to Valhall. Most people know it as Valhalla, to where you basically go to his hall and you feast, you drink, you fight, you meet other warriors, things like that. Folkvanger, which is a very, very peaceful place, nestled in a small valley, beautiful place. And then there's for the worst people, uh,
Yikes! I'm afraid to
Oh,
know.
there's also hell, but hell is just HEL, which is where those that die of old age, of sickness, and things like that go, whereas most of some of our ancestors are. Um, you cross a beautiful gold thatched roofed bridge across a river called Giol as well, and you cross that over to the land of hell. And then for the worst, for the murderers, the liars, the thieves, the beggars, the cowards, they go to an area known as Niflhel, which is part of Niflheim, which is like an ice world, but it's at the roots of the world tree of Yggdrasil, where there's a giant dragon named Nidhogg who chews on your spirits forever,
Ouch! That
and
doesn't
you're
sound
in just
pleasant at
writhing
all.
agony. Yes, yes.
So is there any way to avoid that? Like let's say I murder someone but I change my life. Am I still going to be eaten by that dragon for eternity or is there forgiveness?
That's for the gods to decide.
So you just have to wait and see. So you just have to
Yep.
behave and be a good person, right? That's
Yes.
You know what? I like that because, when I hear Christians say, all you have to do is, this is mainly like the Southern Baptist, I think, but because I didn't learn this in Michigan, but accept the Jesus as your personal savior and all is well. Like you can do whatever you want. Like you can hurt kids, you can hurt your wife, you can hurt your husband, as long as you accept Jesus as your personal savior. And I don't even know what that means, you're fine. And I just always think that's kind of like not, it's not scary enough. That's not enough to keep us in line to
Yeah.
crack that whip on us.
Yeah, it's that's the thing is more people, and I've heard some hardcore Christians say this, and I have Christian friends, Muslim friends, of course, pagan friends. I'm married to a Christian. Um,
Interesting.
so I've had a lot of Christians say that more people are afraid of the devil than they are of their God. We don't believe in Satan and demons and things like that. Um, so that's the vast difference between Christians and humans, or Christians and pagans. Sorry, I didn't mean to say human. Christians, Christians and pagans, is that difference between those two, and then the beliefs of the Christians. So our gods make mistake. It's written in the sagas and Eddas. It's in the old stories. Our gods fuck up, and that's
No
what.
one's infallible in your beliefs.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, everybody
Nice.
screws up, and then there's Lucky who fucks up all the time. But where there's a Christian God, and the reason we have a lot of Christian converts is they said, there's this deity that says that he loves me forever, but if I don't believe in him, that I get cast into an eternal pit of fire and their hell forever, and I can't accept that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, that's understandable. That's just their belief, but they can't accept that. And in ours, the better you live, the better the person you are the next day compared to the day before, you have a better chance of making it to a better place.
Makes sense. Everything you're saying makes sense. And I was worried. I was really nervous. I was like, I'm not going to understand any of this stuff because I'm not going to lie. When I looked at this symbol up here, I'm like, oh, what am I getting myself into? But you're
Yes,
making it very simple. And I want to thank you for that because this
you're
is,
most welcome.
it's, you're taking a lot and you're condensing it. So I know that you could probably go very deep with it.
Hmm.
So let's talk about Fehu. Did I say that right? Fehu.
Fayu,
Fehu.
Fayu, yeah,
Feyu.
Fayu.
And this is the symbol that in the court documents they're saying this F was on the tree. And they said that the one of the victims, I think it was Libby, I think it was Libby's hands had blood on them and they were making it, they made it sound like it was painted on the tree with her hand. So let's talk about Feyu and what it means.
So Fayu means, and you can see there in Old Norse, it means cattle. The purpose for that rune is wealth, abundance, prosperity, not necessarily money, not monetary gain, but for like health, um, an abundance of crops, things like that. So Fayu, and this is the things you have to understand about the runes is yes, you have that symbol, and yes, Fayu starts with an F. So the runes were discovered by Odin, by the All Father, and given to mankind. But they are phonetic alphabets, so they have magical value, they have spiritual value, as well as being a symbol of our culture, and they have phonetic value as well, of kind of like an alphabet.
So this one says wealth, abundance, success, power, prosperity, reward, and increase. So that means all good stuff. But then what is
Yes.
reversed, and what would that look like? Is the
I
symbol like
see there's
actually
like
reversed?
volat volatility and things like that if it was like backwards the other way, but or upside down. Some people claim it's upside down. That's more of a
Okay.
modern notion to the runes, because somebody said, well, if it's upside down or backwards, it would have to be the exact opposite, and that's false. That's just a modern what do they
So
call
how far do these
urban
runes go
myth.
back? Urban myth. So how far do these runes go back? Like the actual OG runes.
Well, the one that you're saying here now is more of a modern rune. I don't mean like 20th century. This was back from like the so it would be the 8th and 9th century, where Feu is considered part of the Elder Futhark. There was actually two ages of the runes. So the Futhark runes, we call them. So you have the Elder Futhark, which is this, and then you have the younger Futhark, which was much older. Um, where you see the term like Fey for Feu. And many of those runes are similar, but it's condensed. They're shorter, and then with the Elder Futhark, more of these runes started to come out. They added a few new,
S-
basically.
So is there any reason that this would be on a crime scene, on a tree at a crime scene? What would that mean, if anything?
You, Guidance and I talked about this, and I cannot understand why you would murder somebody and then put the rune of abundance and prosperity above it, because um, even if they were being foolish and trying to attract the attention of the god to do this, number one, just the dishonor of murdering somebody like this would not attract good favor from the gods at all. And it's written in the sagas. There's many stories about people screwing up like this and doing dumb shit. But I can't understand. I don't know why. I
Are
don't
there
know why.
Odinists that aren't white supremacist? Or is it pretty much assumed
There
if
are
you're in Odinism, you're kind of in that racial bracket there?
there are Odinists that are not white supremacists just because they were taught by Odinists, but they're not white supremacists themselves because of their own personal values and virtues.
Mm.
Um,
So it's not a prerequisite.
a lot of yes, yes, correct. A
Okay.
lot of what we see today, especially with those that don't know the runes or want to get into the old Norse culture or the Viking culture, is they watch the Vikings TV show or they watch a few movies and it's just monkey see, monkey do. They don't actually study or immerse themselves into the culture. And then they come up with things like this.
So kind of like what we were talking about before we went live, like you can get the wrong meaning from Google. Like they would take something that you guys use and then use that same symbol and make it mean something else,
Correct.
right? So is there
Correct. It's
an
just misconstrued.
Odinism rune like list or what? Like do they have their own
W-
runes?
Within their belief, they do. And there's actually three sets of the runes, and the runes are just like a global thing. So some people, just like verses in the Christian Bible, will misconstrue it for their own use, for their own gain. Um, so we have three sets of runes, which uh, the total amount of runes. So we call them ets, AETT, ets. Um,
That's
and each one is defined by a certain god for those ets, like Freya and Heimdallr and Tyr, those three gods. And each one
s-
represents a different thing. So, like a life cycle, external forces, um, and then internal forces. So so your life cycle, and you have to understand this because our ancestors believed this the same way, and I see it's more with anxiety and things in modern culture. There are three things that you will never ever stop or change. That's life, death, and change itself. So a lot of people that are they are literally they are afraid of death. You can't stop it. It's going to happen. So that's an internal force against you. An external force is something completely different. It's a primordial force like the weather or time, things of that nature. Um, and then, with your life cycle that you have, and Fehu is considered one of those within the life cycle.
Fate.
The abundance and prosperity that you have in life. That's why a lot of people say, "Well, I don't believe in a religion that worships death. We don't worship death. We just accept death for what it is, but we
Which a
won't
lot of people
worship
don't
it."
even want to talk about death. I mean,
Correct. Yeah.
so it's like one extreme to the other. People sometimes don't even want to talk about it. And you're just facing it head on. Like, this is inevitable. It's going to happen. And accepting it.
Yes. Correct. Correct. And there's actually a
Katie,
saying.
go ahead.
There's actually a saying in our belief from the Havamal, and the Havamal is not like a Norse Bible. It's just oral tradition, oral history that was written down by Christian missionaries of the spoken words of Odin, the All Father himself. And there's actually a lot of good principles and stuff in the Havamal. And one of them is cattle die, men die, and so the self must die. Or cattle die, kinsmen die, and so the self must die. The one thing that never dies is the reputation of each person. So people
Okay.
don't
That was,
remember
that
you
was,
for how you
yeah.
died. Yeah, it's deep. People don't remember
Yeah,
you
it
for how you
is.
died. They remember you for how you
How
lived.
you lived. Isn't that nuts? And I see so much too, like when people die and like if they were, and a lot of people will do this, like if they weren't a good person, they'll be like, oh my gosh, that person was an angel. Like all of a sudden they're remembered as an angel when they really weren't an angel in real life. Like we have it all backwards. But that was deep.
Correct.
So in other words, there's no reason for any ritualistic purpose that this would be at a gruesome murder scene. Like so gruesome it's got
I've
cops choked up.
Yeah, I've talked to others about it, especially Guidance. If you're still in chat, we've talked about it on her show, and with her viewers. I've talked with other Norse pagans. My wife used to work for a local prosecuting attorney, so and I showed him the PCA,
Ooh, what'd he
and
say?
he knows that I'm a Norse pagan, and the only thing that we can understand is either one, this is being pinned on somebody that knew something they weren't supposed to, or two, this is just a fantasy type of um, cultural slang. The reason I say that is all of the runes, the position of the bodies, everything does not make sense at all, especially for a traditional Norse ritual. Now, as I explained to Jennifer earlier, our culture did have human sacrifices. Every ancient culture had human sacrifices. Ours were done every 9 years, but you didn't just pick someone from a crowd or a slave. You absolutely those slaves, which could have been Slavs from like Western Russia, Bulgaria area. They weren't just picked and said you're going to be a sacrifice. You had to volunteer yourself because it was about honor. You had to prove that you were worthy enough in front of these gods. And many actually, like no slaves were sacrificed. It was just normal common folk that you would like see today shopping, walking around the
Would they
mall
get
with,
like more
at
than
the
enough
local store.
people? So like
Yeah,
a bunch
yeah.
of people be like,
Nine,
"I'll do it,
nine,
I'll do it."
nine, nine of each. So nine humans, nine cattle, nine goats, nine pigs, nine dogs, nine whatever. That's what was sacrificed back in the day.
So what would you get if you were the sacrificial one? Like would you be guaranteed you're going to go to that great place? Is that like a one-way ticket to the best place
Yes,
afterlife?
Yes, that you shown that you were worthy enough, that you sacrificed yourself. And a lot of people, they have a misinterpretation because automatically when you say, I'm going to sacrifice myself, they automatically think murder right off the bat. But you cannot think with a 21st
Mm-hmm.
century mind as to the way that they lived back then. One less person in the community was one less mouth to feed. If you sacrificed yourself and honor to your belief and to the God, that gave your community and your children, your family a better chance at survival because you didn't eat the food that would take away from them for surviving in the winter. There was
Oh.
another. Uh,
Well, you know what? That's kind of the same concept as Jesus giving his life, that they believe, he gave his life for ours. Kind of the same concept a little bit.
yeah, there was another tradition called Hatastupa or Atastup. And basically, when you got to a certain age to where you were too feeble or too weak or too sick, um, in modern terms, it could be severe arthritis, dementia, things like that. When you were too much of uh, a burden on your family, you could offer yourself as a sacrifice in your old age, to by considering basically it's a ritual suicide. You would offer yourself to the gods in hope that you would be able to go to a better place. That way, it made your community stronger and your family survive.
And then they don't have to watch you suffer, right?
Correct, and that's absolutely true.
It all
There's a
everything
story
you're
about a
saying
king.
makes is like based on common sense.
Yeah, yeah. So I will type this in the chat. So this is King Aun. It's pronounced Aun. So like OWN, but not own. Aun.
Own.
So like
King
owl with an
Own.
N. Yeah, King Aun. King Aun was a famous Swedish king. And I will let you Google that and read. And the importance of it is because there's a cycle every so many years, normally every 9 years, since his death, that is called the Year of Aun. And it's meant to, especially this year, to break the destructive cycle. So he was removed from power, and instead of fighting back, he just fled, and he would come back. But he had 9 sons, 9 or 10 sons, and he sacrificed a son to the Allfather every year, every 9 years, and it gave him longevity to the point to where he was 109 years old, and he was laying on a basically like a modern day stretcher, and he could not eat solid food. He had to suckle his food from a bull's horn, and he wanted to sacrifice another son to live longer. Till finally, the community said, "No, you have to die. You have to die." How were they sacrificed? So they were normally sacrificed either by like a ritual hanging and cut, bled, basically, or they were bled on a table, and it was meant to be a very quick and as least painless death as possible. So very little suffering to those, and you can read about those by a famous, and I will type this into chat, a
Thank you for
famous
all of this.
Arabic traveler from Baghdad, a very strong Muslim. He was a very, very smart man and poet, and his name was Ibn Fadlan. Ibn Fadlan, and you
I
could
love
read about
repeating
Ibn
your
Fadlan
words.
as well.
Ibn Fadlan.
Yes,
It,
yeah.
I
So Ibn
love
Fadlan.
this.
So Ibn wrote about the Vikings, I guess, from present day Ukraine and Belgrade, uh, and Western Russia. So and about their experiences compared to his own beliefs as well from Islam.
Do they drain all of the blood out of a person like that?
Yes. So from the person and from the animals, they drain the blood out individually, of course, and it's collected into a giant bowl, which was called a bloat bowl. Bloat means blood. So a
Bloat.
bloat bowl, and then it was offered into the soil or to the fire, to the gods, or sometimes, depending if you had the wooden idols to the gods, it would either be covered or it would be splattered by a ceremonial splatter, normally with a feather or with a conifer tree or a yew tree, which we
Mm.
call Yeah.
Okay, Nils, you just kind of stopped me in my tracks there because in the
Sorry.
Delphi thing, no, don't apologize. It's weird because remember what we were talking about before, where I was telling you that one of the victims was nude and the other one was in the other's clothes, and I can't remember. I think Libby's clothes were on Abby or vice versa. But
Yeah.
they also said that the body that was nude had blood. I don't know if they said droppings or like they made it sound like it was deliberate that there was blood. They didn't say splatter or spatter. They said, I think, droppings head to toe. And maybe, I don't know if
Hmm.
I can find it because there's 136 pages. But when you said that, like with a feather, like I picture it like going in little, dustings of splatters of blood, and the way it was described was really weird. Because at first, I'm going to be honest with you, my theory was kind of like maybe Richard Allen found out about Odinism when he was in the clinker, and that he's just using this because he was able to see discovery and see the crime scene. Because if you look at that forest, like twigs can fall and they can look like whatever the hell you want them to look like. So if
Scartoma, the
those
mind sees what it wants to see. Yeah. Like clouds, like when we used to look
exactly
at clouds as kids.
right, so like, what if Richard Allen is like? I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just speculating here, but what if Richard Allen is kind of like a racist and he got to like know about Odinism in the clinker because he's in a hard prison. He's not being held in the county jail. Like this dude's in Westville Correctional. It's a lot of
Yeah.
fighting.
Federal
It's
federal
hard.
prisons are where you will find most of your Odinists, not your local county jail or city jail.
Right. And that's not where he is. So he's claiming that these guards, a few of them were wearing patches that said, "In Odin we trust."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, did he see these patches and then talk to his lawyer? Like, did they come up with this defense because he learned it in the clinker? That's what I was wondering. And then looking at the
Yeah.
crime scene, like, oh, these branches fell like it's a forest. The girls were laying there for 20 cheers. The girls were laying there for 24 hours almost. So could branches have fallen? Sure. I mean, there's squirrels in the trees and branches can fall, and I don't know, but then I think about the blood and the bodies and the positioning, and they say it was staged. I'm at a loss, I'm just at a loss. The attorney saw the
Nor
patches.
normally with an old blood offering like that, which today we use meat, meat or blood. For our agricultural purposes, on my private property, we use cattle's blood. That doesn't mean we go out and kill a cow. We do slaughter our own cattle, but we don't just like murder animals just for a blood sacrifice in the field. It doesn't work that way. That's dishonorable. It's demeaning and cruel, which is what we're not about. But the blood splatter and stuff with that. Normally, you would use a branch of a conifer tree. Conifers were highly regarded, especially the yew tree, which they call the conifer ash or needle ash in Scandinavia, because they were abundant all year long. Their needles fell, but they were still green, which is why people have the Christmas tree, because it's the only thing that's green during the entire white snowy winter.
And what do you
So you
call the Christmas tree?
understand
You don't
why
call it
they
the
have
Christmas
the
tree.
Christmas tree.
What do you call
We
it?
call it the Yule tree.
The Yule tree.
Yule tree. Yeah, the Yule tree. It's
Yeah,
actually
Yule.
it's here. I'll type it into the chat,
Yule,
and
like Y U
so
L
I'll
Y
type it
U
in.
L E, right? Yule.
Yes, yes.
The Yule
So
time log.
I'll type it into Old Norse and I'll type it into modern English for you. So there it is, and it's pronounced the same way. Yule tree.
Yule. Okay, so let's see what kind of questions we've got here.
That's actually a very good question by Robin.
Go ahead, answer whatever questions you see. Feel free. I'm gonna try to.
This is what really caught my attention. As they said, okay, well, Odinists did this, and then everybody in the Norse pagan community popped their heads up and said, "Oh shit, what's going on in Indiana?" Um, and they said, "Well, this Purdue professor identified this and said, yes, it's Odinism." And then there was the two guards protecting him, which were supposedly Odinists. So we're thinking, okay, if he's a Odinist will protect Odinists on both sides of the fence and federal correction facilities. But when in the PCA, when they came out on September 7th of this year and said they can't find the Purdue professor, even the state trooper, and the other three with the Delphi investigation team said, we don't know who he is. There's no deposition. We can't even name him. That kind of flew up red flags.
Hmm. We've got tons of good questions. Let me know when
Hmm.
you're ready.
Go
Are
for
you
it.
ready now for them?
Fire away.
Okay. All right.
I've
So
got the
hang on.
full
Are
horn
we
of
going to
meat.
go
Fire
over?
away. And then
Are
I
we
got
going over these
this horn
runes
too.
anymore, or
So.
can I get rid of them? What is
Oh,
that? Let me
but
see
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. So this is one of two um, drinking horns. Some are more elaborate than others. My son got
I
this
want
actually as
one.
a
That's
Yule gift
cool.
last year. So I have three of these, and then some horn cups, of course.
That's awesome. Is that a horn? I was looking at your cup. I'm like, what
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that?
yeah. So
I
here's
love it.
one
It
horn,
reminds me of the Flintstones.
and yeah, the
They have their
Uninorse, but
phones.
yeah,
Their phone. I love that. You
so
should sell those.
which I drink my mead out of, and I also make my own mead. MEAD. For those that
M
don't know
E
what
A
mead is,
D. What is mead?
mead. Mead is honey wine. It is the oldest documented fermented drink on the face of the earth.
It sounds yummy. Honey wine. Is it kind of like
Honey
a
wine.
whiskey?
No, it's just honey wine.
It's like
It's
a
just fermented
wine.
honey. 11 to 17% ABV.
Is it dry?
No, it's very wet and it's very nice. You
Is it?
can make it dry if you want to, but yeah, it's very sweet too. So, and as a matter of fact, one of my favorite meaderies for this mead um, comes from Bloomington, Indiana. It's called Oliver Winery. So that's kind of
I was going to ask, can you
ironic.
buy honey wine?
Hmm. And it's easy to make. Very easy. Very simple to make.
Really?
You can induce, yes, you can mix fruits in with it. I have a friend outside of Cincinnati who makes a ghost pepper mead. Very common
Ooh.
in the fall, keeps you warm. Your lips will be numb for about 5 minutes.
Well, I love myself a good glass of Riesling. We have the in Michigan up in Traverse City, they freeze the grapes
Hmm.
and like you get like the good harvest of the Riesling and it is good stuff. Yeah, I bet the ghost pepper
So
keeps you warm.
if you like Riesling, you will definitely like mead. So buy a liter of mead,
Mead.
and if you can't find it at your local winery, look under the sweet wine section, and
Oh, I'm
sometimes you'll find it
excited.
there.
I'm going to try it. I just
Yes,
need
it's
me a
very.
horn glass though.
This is what my ancestors drank.
Interesting. I wish I would have known that. I would have gotten a bottle. I'm
It's
jealous
good
now.
stuff.
No, I don't do ghost peppers, but I'll definitely do the honey wine. That sounds
Mm.
great. Diana says you had me at wine, and Gustave is also pagan. He was here the other night when we were talking about this
Oh,
case,
nice, nice.
and he says we make apple mead every year. So he came back to hear you tonight, which is awesome.
Oh, nice. Well, welcome. Thank you, brother. Yes, apple mead. I especially in the spring, and I know it's more common in America in the fall, but for Idun, the goddess Idun, with her apples, which promote eternal youth. But this time of year, especially apple ciders and apple mead, I'm actually getting ready to make some apple mead very soon, and it
Why is it
ferments
called
quickly.
mead?
I can't answer that. I have no idea. I know it's a Proto-Germanic term, but it's just something
Is
that's
that
stuck
another term
through
for
the
wine?
centuries.
Like, is there other kinds of, or is that just specifically for the honey drink, the honey wine?
That's
Is
that's
mead?
specifically that's specifically for the honey wine.
Okay,
The gods
gotcha.
call it the mead of poetry,
The mead of
and it
poetry.
wasn't and it wasn't native to the earth until later. They actually, the Allfather got it from another realm, was taking it back to Asgard, where the Asir tribe lives, and some of it's he disguised himself as an eagle, and some of it fell from his beak down to earth, and that's supposed to be the origin of mead on earth, which we call Midgard.
That's awesome. No, a lot of us have never heard of mead. We've heard of mead paper. That's a brand name.
Yeah, yeah, the mead paper company.
Yeah. Potato. I
So
love Moscato too.
there is a lot of the Old Norse influence and the Old Norse history that's in people's everyday lives today that they never even think about. Every day of the week is named after a Norse day or Norse god, except for one, which is Saturday. So Sunday was known as Suna's day, the god of the sun.
Soonest.
Monday was Money's day, which is sister's
Payday?
Suna's brother, the moon. Tyr, two, and Proto-Germanic two, TIW, which was also pronounced Tyr, is Tuesday. Wednesday is Woden's day, which is the Proto-Germanic name for Odin. Woden, Woden's day,
Woden.
Wednesday. Thursday is Thor's day. Friday is Freya's day, and Saturday that was the only one that kept from the original Roman calendar from Emperor Julian or Julius Caesar, known as Saturn's Day, or the Day of Saturn, because we call it the Laugardagr, which was wash day.
The
When your
Logadogger.
Laugardagr, which your entire house was clean, your clothes were clean, the animals were cleaned, your linens were cleaned, everything,
That's
every
a good
single
day.
Saturday.
When there is a lavadogger, that is a good day at home because everything gets done, right?
Yes, correct. Lead. That's a very good assessment. Yeah, we don't recruit. We're not like Christians. If you don't come forward today, if you don't come to the Lord Jesus, you're going to die and burn in hell. Pagans do not do that. We do not do that.
You know
If
what
you
I
want
notice
to
about you is
convert, that's okay.
you're very comfortable in your beliefs and you don't feel the need to push them on anybody. It's refreshing because a lot of us have
Maybe,
seen the pushiness and the door to door and then just the scariness, like if you don't believe this certain way, your bad things are going to happen to you. And I was raised Catholic, Nils, so if that tells you anything, that's I'm very open-minded though, because the older that I got and I started questioning these things that didn't make sense to me, these things that I just went through the motions and did as a child. And then when I had kids, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not sure I want to do this because I don't even understand why I did it. So why am I going to do that to my kid? You know what I mean? So I
yeah,
kind of stopped it, but my parents were like not happy about that.
yeah.
But
There's no indoctrination into paganism itself. This is not just Norse paganism. This is Roman, Egyptian pagans, Celtic
there's no
pagans,
guilt. Yeah, it's
Druidic
not
pagans. Yeah,
guilting.
yeah. And the whole point of it, in our belief, and this is through many of the old pagans from old Europe, from continental Europe, from the UK islands to Northern Europe, even in modern day Russia, is you try to be a better person than you were the day before. And you don't try to ridicule someone else for going through sorrow and sufferings. You try to pick them up and help them be a better person than they were the day before, no matter their belief. And and we still practice this at our home. If you're hungry, you come to our house, we will feed you. If you're thirsty, we will give you drink. If you need a place to stay, you can stay 2 to 3 days and then you have to leave. And we still honor that.
It's very kind. You're a very kind person. I think that everybody's mind is kind of not blown, but I think that we're definitely learning something we didn't know. So I'm going to start running through these questions.
Okay.
You ready? All right. Were Wiccans
Yeah.
part of pagans and then divided or never part? I don't really understand. Were Wiccans part of
Okay.
pagans and then divided or never part?
So you have pagans, and what I mean by pagans is pagans was a term given to the old Roman Catholic Church for anybody or the Holy Roman Empire. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say the Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Catholic Church, to anybody that believed in more than one God. It was kind of a derogatory term, almost like a racist term today. So a lot of pagans get offended by that. Others just say, "Hey, we'll just take it, run with it, and be proud of it." Um, so you will see some that say, "I'm not a Norse pagan, I'm a heathen," because they don't want to feel like they're being ridiculed by another belief. Um, so Wiccanism or Wiccans are pagans, but they're not Norse pagans. Now, at the same time, there are Wiccans that do believe in the Norse gods, and they also believe in the Greek gods, the Roman gods, the Egyptian gods, the old Slavic gods. So they can kind of incorporate all of that into however their personal belief and practice is, versus just one religion, one specific religion of paganism.
Right. That makes sense. That was Mike Sanner, by the way. Thank you, Mike, for your question. The next question we have for you is Cray Cray 420 wants to know how tall you are.
Uh,
Random.
I am six
Can I
one. I am the
guess? Oh,
smallest
I was
one.
going to guess. I was
Yeah,
going
I'm
to
the
say six
smallest in my
two.
family. I am the
Are you
smallest
really?
in my family. Yes. We generally were very tall, but my father's still the tallest in the family, and I'll let you guess how tall he is.
Oh my gosh, he's the tallest, 6'6".
He was 6'6". He's 6'4" now. As he's gotten older, he shrunk
He's
two
lost
inches.
2 inches. Oh wow. So it is true. We
So
do
yeah,
shrink.
yeah,
Six
yes,
six. Wow. And not
yeah,
thin, I'm sure. Because you
yeah.
guys
We're
are
very,
farmers.
we're very stocky.
It's awesome. All right. Katie K, have you seen the sketch of the perpetrator? And do you believe that this was an act of an Odinist?
I've seen the sketch of the crime scene. The artist interpretation sketch, not the actual sketch. And looking at the way the bodies are positioned and the sticks are laying across, what some, and I don't want to say this in a bad way, what other YouTube channels are saying that's this and the hell load and thing, I don't see that. Um, I think this was done to look like a cult rite or ritual, but they didn't know what they were doing. That's the best way I can explain it.
So it was like a ripoff of Odinism?
Yeah, or somebody that like wannabes. I guess is the term in America, wannabes. It made zero sense to me. It's like, no, this is not how it would be done.
Do you think that it I mean I know we haven't seen the actual, pictures, but do you think that this is a staged scene? Does it
It
sound
could
like something that was staged to look like an Odinist did it?
it could have been because there's a lot of red flags. The fact that the clothes were switched, you and I had talked about that before the stream.
Mhm.
Libby's clothes were switched with Abby's. In Norse paganism, that would have no meaning whatsoever, um,
None.
as a ritual or sacrifice or anything like that. So the only thing, and I even talked to Jay about it, I said, the only thing that makes sense is maybe they were trying to throw off the identity of one of the girls,
Mhm.
because one was larger than the other, which I didn't know until tonight. So it just blows my mind. It's like nothing. There's all these puzzle pieces. Nothing is fitting together the way it should be, from my belief. So, which makes me think this was just a
You
random wannabe. I watched a TV show and read a little bit about Norse paganism, and this is how I think it's supposed to be. Type of thing. It's just completely mind-boggling.
Mhm. Mhm. So I
No,
was
dear.
explaining to Nils that, the smaller one, it would be easy to get, bigger clothes on her versus the other way around, and it's just it screams it just screams a pedo to me, and I don't know. I'm with you. I think that it was something set up to look a certain way or something that they have read. But I know you're not a crime scene analyst, but based on what you've heard and read, does it sound like the works of one person as far as a staged scene?
No, I don't think this was the work of one person. I really don't. For the past, and I'll give you kind of insight is into my history in America. So,
Okay.
since I was 16, I was a firefighter, 18, an EMT, then a paramedic. I've worked for the U.S. State Department as a DMAT team under Emergency Services. Worked with USAID as well on that same spectrum. Basically, we were a disaster medical team that went around the world on disasters in other countries: Italy, Pakistan, Thailand, Haiti. We were the second team into Haiti. I worked with FEMA, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, local EMS as well, where I live, and firefighter in three different states. Yeah, I live in America, so I've been to crime scenes uh, with emergency services. I've been in America in public safety. I've been to crime scenes, and for a not saying we get a lot of cult crime scenes here, but knowing what is in my belief and seeing something like this, it does not something does not add up. It does not add up at all.
Mm-mm. Let's see. Let me pull up some more questions here. Does any group, this is from Katie. Katie's had great questions tonight. Does
I like
any group
Katie.
of Odinites, I do too, does any group of Odinites believe in harming humans?
I want to say yes, but personally, I don't know. The term Odinite is just something started by the media recently. The term normally is Odinism or Odinist. Even in the federal prisons in America, they will say Odinist. Um, but it's still the same question. I understand that, Katie. But I don't know because I don't know many Odinites or Odinists. I really don't. I've been a good boy. I have not been in a federal prison in America.
Awesome. In America, I don't know.
Yes.
What are prisons like in
Yeah.
Scandinavia? Or actually, you've been to how
They're
many
like
different countries?
32.
32 countries, you guys. That's
32. I have not
crazy.
been to Canada, and I'm 8.5 hours from Canada.
You
I
haven't
have
been to
not been to.
Canada.
I've seen Canada from across the Niagara River. That's as close as I made it to Canada, and I want to visit one day. I've never made it to Australia, but I've been to many other countries, especially in Southeast Asia, to Africa, all over Europe, Southern Asia.
Nils, please
Um,
share
uh,
what keyboard you use for Norse.
I don't use a keyboard for Norse. This is just like everything for Swedish. It's just what I type. Um, and for Old Norse, it's the same. So I don't like have a special keyboard for Old Norse. I'm sorry.
We have something from the PCA where Elvis, the guy Elvis they talk about, claimed to have spit on one of the victims. And you mentioned earlier like saliva, things like that. Would that have any meaning? Cuz that seems demeaning to me, the way that it came across in the PCA.
It is honestly it is. When the Asir tribe and the Vanir tribe, they went to war. The gods, they call it the War of the Gods. The Asir tribe, Thor, Odin, they were getting their asses kicked. Heimdall. So they had this truce, and from this truce, they decided to spit into a vat, into a bowl, and it created the wisest of all humans, named Kvasir. So in old Sade magic in Old Norse, saliva was normally offered for like a seer or a vulva, which is like a witch, um, to foresee, your future, like a fortune teller. But for them to spit on the bodies is just dishonorable. It's just degrading.
And this is coming from someone with, I think they said he had like an 8-year-old mentality. I believe Elvis was the
That
one that has like, yeah.
that would make sense because for you to spit on a body after it's obviously life is gone is just evil. It's just absolutely evil.
Hmm. Like there's no way that anybody in your religion or in general mankind finds this to be anything abundant
No,
as
it
that
serves no
rune.
purpose.
Right. All right.
Like
Go ahead.
at the same time, you don't strip the dead of the enemy that has fallen. You don't steal their weapons because their weapons were considered unlucky because obviously they fell in battle or combat. So if you stole their weapon, you would be um, cursed with bad luck, technically.
Is there any reason that you would put blood or give blood to a tree? Is question one. And then piggybacking on that, how come sacrifice blood goes into the fire and sometimes goes into the soil? So,
So
first off,
blood,
blood in a tree.
I don't know. I don't understand. Like I said, that has to be like a wannabe. I just saw it on TV type of thing. I have done blood offerings of. I've done blood offerings to my weapons here at home. I've done blood offerings to my land. Now, when you do that, it bonds you to that by death. That's the only way that you can get out of that contract. It's a contract basically of your life. So as long as I live here, as long as I have this, and of course our land, our home is a legacy for my children and grandchildren, which is why I done that. So as far as my weapons, like a blood offering to my swords, my axes, all of my weapons, my knives here, um, it's I'm trying
Bonding? Like bonding?
ex- ex- it is a bonding. There's another way I'm trying to explain it in English. Um, so when your essence is infused into something like that, into like a weapon, that weapon can't be used against you because your blood, your energy, your essence of your life is in that weapon. So it can't be used against you to kill you. People who do blood runes, I don't understand that because that's a part of your life. Why would you want to do a blood rune? A lot of stuff today, instead of people actually researching it, they're thinking, oh, that's cool. So it's monkey see, monkey do, without understanding the consequences of why they're doing that.
Hmm. So I guess what I'm wondering is, was this something that someone did like on purpose, or did they not really realize that they were doing it wrong and left it that way? You know what I'm saying? Did they really think that
I
they were
honestly,
doing something?
I honestly don't think that they knew what they were doing,
It's sick.
or or the hype that they were looking for favor, um, because of whatever they had seen or read. No,
KDK has another good one. Did the date of the deaths hold any significance for Odinism, February the 13th?
can you repeat that question?
Did the date of the deaths hold any significance for Odinism, February the 13th?
No, February the 13th has no significance. The closest to that date, you're going to like this, Jay, is February 1st to 3rd. That's the closest holiday we have to that, which is what we call the Desir blood. The Desir are all of the female um, classification, I guess, the female class. So mother, grandmother, the Valkyries, the female goddesses are all um, revered and praised during that time in the last 2 to 3 days.
Love
So
it.
imagine like a Mother's Day, 2 to 3 days with a feast and family and things like that.
I dig it. I like it. I like it. I'll take 3 days.
Yes,
So that
that's
wouldn't be
also the
something
beginning.
that you would do something bad to a female.
No, no, like females are absolutely revered during that time. They are praised, they are raised up, and we also call it the blessing of the plow because that's when you plan to get your tools and you plan for your crops and stuff for the spring.
Well, all of us females are coming to your house February 1st through 3rd, 2024. Because we're going to
Yes.
be raised up and we're going to have a feast and everything else.
You're more than welcome at our home anytime.
I love it. Okay, so Punani wants to know, do you believe in reincarnation?
Um, that's a strange question because it's like yes and no. Um, and I'll explain as to why. So everything that happens in cycles. So from the beginning of creation to the end times, which we call Ragnarok, which Earth is destroyed and then it's remade. There's two humans that survive, and then they repopulate with the rest of the human population until the old gods are reborn. But everything is done in cycles, and the seasons actually teach us this, which any pagan belief, whether you're Wiccan or Roman or Norse pagan or a Druid in the UK or the Irish Island, they all teach the same thing with the seasons. So spring is birth. That's when everything comes to life. It's absolutely beautiful. Summer is the abundance of life. Fall is death. So it starts to get darker. The leaves let go, teaching you that it's okay to let go of things. And then winter is death. So it's cold, it's barren, but it's beautiful. And it's not a bad thing. And then the cycle repeats. We go back to spring and then summer and then fall. And it just keeps repeating. So
Mm-hmm.
in the pagan belief, yes, we believe that there is a cycle, and these cycles constantly happen. So as far as reincarnation, that's beliefs of other ancient cultures, but there's a lot of similarities between those ancient cultures that fit into Norse beliefs, and that fits into of Norse beliefs that fit into like Buddhism, which I can explain something interesting in a minute.
Okay. Guidance wants you to talk about the number 13.
Oh, damn you, girl, you got me. I love Miss T. She is awesome. Guidance is you better subscribe to Guidance. She's one of my closest
Yes.
friends. I would
I want to
marry
thank
her
her for connecting us.
if my wife ever get tired of me and her husband wanted to marry my wife, I'd probably marry Guidance. But
Oh,
no,
guidance. That's
she's
sweet.
just a great she's a great spirit. She can finish my sentences. She's a very strong empath and a very great soul. So the number 13 has a great significance. It was deemed unlucky by the Roman Catholic Church. The original months of the year had 13 28-day months. 13 is significant all around the world in every ancient culture, including Native American culture, First Nations people, uh, because there's 13 full months or full moons of the year, 13 full moons. You can Google that right now if you'd like. If you look at a turtle shell, it has 13 plates. So 13 is a very significant number in ancient beliefs, ancient cultural beliefs around the world.
Do you want to go back to what you were talking about before? You said
Before the
you had a
13?
mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. So when creation happened, which we called the Great Cataclysm, um, there were two, actually three realms that had existed. One was just a dark void called Gedungagap. In Christianity, they just called it the void. But there was this fire, heat type of realm called Muspelheim. So fire, sparks, things like
Muspelheim.
that. And then there was Niflheim. Yeah, let me type that in. And then
Niflheim.
Niflheim, which was ice, is the exact opposite. Kanunga Gap. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So of course with Kanunga Gap being in the middle, just it was void. There was nothing there. One day the shards from Niflheim collided with the sparks of Muspelheim. and basically started creation in the cosmos. Scientists today call this the Big Bang Theory. This is written in the Prose Edda and the Old Norse sagas. So, cool. So, when that happened, it made a sound. It was the first known sound in the cosmos. And in Old Norse, we call it the Ond, O-N-D, Ond.
The owned.
And yeah, there's a certain frequency, and that helped to create the first being, the first ever creature outside of Muspelheim and Niflheim called Ymir. Ymir, which eventually he was slain, and that's what the earth was made from, his corpse. But when it made that sound, that owned, every ancient culture knew this, and every ancient belief. And that term is called, it's the same thing, but it's called by a different but similar name by the Tibetan monks and the Buddhists, known as the Om, O-M. But it's the same thing, and that's the sound, that's the same frequency that they meditate on.
Mm-hmm. Right?
And we call it the Ond.
The owned.
So that
Robin
deep,
says
dark
like an
thing.
interview with a vampire. Never seen it.
That was the Brad Pitt, and I don't know if that was Tom Cruise or who was in it, but that's I
It's a
saw that movie
oldie.
in the 90s. That's
Yeah,
a long
that's a
time ago.
oldie. Everybody's going,
Uh,
oh.
I am so sorry. Let me spell it out for you. And a lot of people think this is an Arabic name. So our vowels are pronounced different, and in Old Norse than in English. So in Middle English, those that lived in Britain uh, and Scotland and Ireland, parts of Ireland, Wales, they could understand each other and talk to each other. It wasn't until after about the 1100 that the French came in and said, "We don't like how you're pronouncing your vowels in Middle English," and then they were changed to the French vowels, which is the modern English that you know now. So our Y's are pronounced as double E's, so it's Emir, Emir, which in Old Norse means
Emir.
screamer. Yeah.
Screamer.
Yes.
Emir. Who's
Emir.
Lestat? A vampire?
So there's certain Old Norse words that people in the modern English language, especially in America, say today for yes, and that's yeah. We say
Yeah.
yeah in Swedish. So
Like
yeah,
YA?
yeah, J A. It's
Yeah.
pronounced J. Our J's are pronounced as Y's, so it's yeah. But we have
So it's
three different ways.
J. Ja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Sweden, yeah. So in even Old Norse, it was yeah.
What is the Serpent's
Hey, you're going to the
Trail?
store? Yeah. The Serpent's Trail. Uh, damn it, James. I know who this is. This is someone from my Discord server.
Is this someone you
Uh,
know? Damn it, Jay.
yes,
Is that too
yes, and
deep for right now?
he's very awesome.
Is he
So,
pulling your
oh
chain,
man,
yanking your chain over here?
he caught me in half mead. So the serpent. Are we talking about the serpent's tail or the serpent's trail?
He said trail.
So yeah,
Trail.
trail. Okay, I didn't know if we were
Half
talking about
mead. You
Jormungandr,
caught
the
him half.
Midgard serpent, or I could tell stories about the gods and the old stories all night. Yeah, mead,
Oh
skull.
my gosh, you should do like a fireside chat with your horn cup and your mead.
I was actually going. I have the firewood out there. I was actually going to do that earlier.
Really? You should do
Yeah.
that on your Discord or your YouTube or something. That'd be great. I'd love to sit there and listen to old Norse stories. Is that what
Oh
they're
yeah,
called?
I have some
Norse
from
stories?
yeah some really. I mean, other than the YouTube page, on Instagram, Nils underscore Iron Wolf on IG. You can find me, and you'll see some Yule videos from last year. Some in Norse, which is the modern Norwegian language. And for those that don't know, I speak 12 different languages. So, including uh, one Native American language, which is Lakota Sioux. So, for anybody that knows Lakota Sioux,
Kudasuit.
He Naniwashte. Yeah, Lakota. The Lakota are good people.
Potato is our British.
Ah,
Yeah, she says she'd get herself a horn and join. I love it. I love it. Well, Nils, we've been going almost 2 hours. That flew by, and I don't want to keep you from your fam, but I want to thank you,
oh,
man. We
very
learned
good.
a lot, and we'd love to have you back and talk about this maybe when we find out some more. If we get some more information, or I don't know, people, we'll have to take a look at the comments and see what the replayers are thinking. Very, very interesting, and you're a gem. You're a pleasure to talk to.
The honor is mine. I thank you for allowing me onto the panel tonight.
Allowing you, we're honored. We're honored. It was really amazing to meet you. So everyone's
And
subbing
I
up.
and I do hope that there's some more information that comes out about this case because it is absolutely confusing with me.
Oh,
From
dude,
the initial reports
it's
from the
all so
investigators and
confusing.
the state trooper to what's coming out now, like it was all either false or a lie or is misconstrued, and it's like if the
I
prosecutor
was
presents it right now, it will fail. Why did it take them 5 years to come to the conclusion of this is the best evidence that we have? There's too many red flags.
I know. I want to show you a picture really quick before we end. I don't know if you know that there's been other people that were suspected initially. I don't know if you've heard about Keegan Klein. He was a user of an Instagram account that communicated with one of the girls on the day of the murder. And he has since been charged with child P charges on his computer. I think thousands of images. But they're saying
Oh,
he's not related in this case anymore, but he was in contact with them, which is so weird. But we were looking at the sketches, and there were only 2 people that used that Instagram account. And he claims that his dad was one of them. So it's really strange. I'm going to show you what these guys look like, because this is another confusing aspect of this case. Is these sketches are so different, but then they turn around and say, "Oh no, now it's the same guy." But okay, so Keegan Klein is in the bottom right. He's currently incarcerated and charged with child pornography. And that's Richard Allen before the arrest on the left.
which one?
Richard Allen is in the
I see.
bottom left, and Keegan Klein is
Okay,
in the bottom right.
and Keegan was the one that was busted with the child P.
Yes, and I'm going to show you what his dad looks like, because he said his dad also
That man
used,
has no neck.
right? But look how wide. I was looking at his like jaw down here, how full it is. I just don't know. I don't think Richard Allen really, besides the nose on the top right, I don't think he resembles either sketch.
Yeah, neither one of the two at the bottom resemble the sketch at the top.
You don't think either one of them? Okay, let's look at this one. Let me show you this one. Bear with me here. Okay, so here's Keegan again. That's his father on the left. Still, I'm not seeing it with the father. Are you seeing it with either one of
Looks like
them?
uh, not really with the top left compared to the bottom left. The top. I mean, yeah, no. I mean, the top left looks like an Irish mobster from the 1930s.
I
I
know.
don't. There's no resemblance.
I know. I want to show you one more thing, and we're gonna leave it with this because it's so bizarre. Let me pull up these photos real quick. There's the
Robin
guy
said
that they
Keegan
talk
gained a lot
about.
of weight before his arrest.
He did. He did. Um, here's another picture of him and his father. I'll show you. But I want to show you that Brad Holder, the one that they keep mentioning in the PCA.
I've heard Guidance mention his name
Yes, so
on
he's
her.
the one that really seem to be pinning it on in the PCA is this Brad guy. But here's again, this is Keegan, and that's his dad. So that's Keegan before he got really, really large.
Oh, okay, I can see kind of a resemblance in that top left picture now
Yes, when he's
with
thinner.
that cabbie hat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But why would that young kid be wearing those hats? I've heard people say, they're common with white supremacists. I don't know if that's true,
Why are you
but I
wearing
want to.
White Sox and Dodgers? I mean,
But check this out. This is crazy. So the guy Brad Holder that they talk about, I gotta airdrop this to my
mhm.
computer. He has a collection of those drivers' hats. The caps. And I'm gonna show you right now. Let's load them up here. And he actually has a shop that he buys them from that he shared it on Facebook. It's just wild because my dad used to wear these hats. Okay. But my dad was also, older.
Mhm.
So if we take a look here, here's the first one.
11
Second,
Bravo.
third. Can you see them?
Yeah, my son actually has one.
So they're pretty common. But look at this. He even put one on his dad. He even put one on his
Oh
dad.
wow.
But look at him. Look at his face, dude. Like, it's kind of shocking with the sketch, isn't it?
And does he have the curly hair that was shown in that other sketch? Because there's a lot of, in both sketches, there's actually a lot of similarities. The first one with the goatee and that same hat,
Look
and
at
then the
this Hitler
second one with the
stash.
curly hair and just
And he has a Hitler mustache.
what the hell?
Mm-hmm. See that?
We
This
have a
is all from
term.
his Facebook.
We have a term for people like that in Sweden. We call it tenulafita.
Tanu Lafita. But
Yeah,
look at
I
the
won't spell
hoodie.
it or Google it because it'll lead you to something else. Because
I'll take your
America's
word
whack.
for it. But isn't that crazy? The similarities.
Can you zoom in on the stuff in the back,
Yeah, I
like
did
that's in
do
the
that when I
background on the
found it.
wall?
I was wondering if it was the flyer because Richard Allen had that flyer behind him, but it looks like it's pictures of his kids. But this is the
Mm.
guy his son dated Abby.
Hold on. This old man dated a teenager.
His son
Oh,
Logan, I
okay,
believe his
okay.
name is. Yeah, no, his son had a connection to Abby. Then I'm going to show you his son now. This is more recent. Well, he's got two sons, but this is what really threw me was when I looked at this guy's Facebook, and I mean, it's uncanny. But all
Good.
right, here's another one, and we'll end with this. This is a little bit creepy. All right.
I think they're going after the wrong person, and I think that there may be Odinists. I believe. I think there may be Odinists protecting the real um, perpetrators of this. That's just my personal opinion.
You think there could be a connection? All right. So if you look at his belt buckle,
Oh yeah,
see that? I mean, is this like your typical, if you would like Odinist, like wannabe, like you said, kind of like a
that looks like
poser?
a, a Masonic belt buckle.
It is a Masonic belt buckle. Hmm.
Now,
He has
for
that
all the
symbol all
conspiracy
over.
theorists, there are Masons that are Norse pagans. There are Masons that are Christians. So I don't want you to think that that little triangle you all saw on Google, going up researching thing that all these witches and pagans and We're
Yeah.
going to take over the world. I mean, most of the pagans, they can't even afford to pay their electric bill. They're just normal people like you.
They're not the elite.
Though, yeah, they're not this elite that you want to claim they are. Yeah, he's and there's a lot of white supremacist groups within the military. And if you don't believe me, look at the 82nd Airborne of the United States Army. So, and there are some in every branch.
Oh, I
But
believe it.
like I said, that doesn't make them bad.
So the guy on the far right, I believe, is Logan, the one that was affiliated with one of the victims. This
That was the
guy
one that was dating
claims,
the girl.
yeah. And we don't know if they like met in person because they were so young. You know how that is. You meet on social media or something. They didn't go to the same school. But investigators did talk to all these people and drove to other states to talk to them. This guy was interviewed very early on, just like Richard Allen was. And then they noted in the PCA that he was interviewed again just this past month. I was
I
just
get a
really
bad
shook.
vibe.
Yep,
I get a
I'm.
bad vibe. You
I do too.
90%, 90% about a person you can tell just from their eyes. Remember that. Mark my words. And
Mhm.
he has a lot of bad vibes.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. I'm going to show you this and tell you what I'm feeling on this one. So you're looking at this, and this is clearly like his son's graduation from the Marines, and he's sporting a Hitler stash in a picture. You know, just the setting to me, it bothered me. It's very bold. I don't like it.
Look at how his stance is
I
first.
know. I was just looking at his
His
jeans
shoulders
too.
are relaxed, they're back. That shows confidence. His chest is out.
Hmm.
When you see a person with a dead stare and their shoulders are relaxed, those are people that you are normally dangerous, whether they're good or bad. They're setting a statement, um, a nonverbal statement of physical confidence. So I
I
don't know if it
agree
was
with
like a
you.
pose for the picture, but he is very relaxed and very confident
It's scary, isn't it?
compared
Like,
to I guess his son.
yeah.
He was very firm, very stiff.
I want to show you one more thing because I
Look at
just
those
freaked
eyes.
myself out. Oh, I
Look
know
at
it.
those
They
eyes.
look right through you. They literally look right through you.
Those are the eyes of a killer.
I don't like it at all. I don't think I'm with you. I don't think they have the right guy.
Yeah, I don't think Richard Allen. Goddess and I talked about that, and I told her I don't think Richard Allen did it. If he's a Norse pagan, he's being protected. That's one thing, but I think that there's some kind of honestly, some
This
kind
could
of fucked
easily
up
be
cult.
that guy.
Oh yeah, it's got his body
Look at
to it.
his
I don't know
legs,
what
how
his stride is,
short.
but yeah, yeah. Look at his build. Look at his build,
I know.
and then look there. Look at the width of his shoulders.
Uh-huh.
That looks like him.
It
I don't know what
easily
he
it
sounds like, so
easily
I
could
couldn't tell you
be.
about
I
his
mean,
voice.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I don't either. But I'm telling you, it didn't sit right with me, and he started posting the day this PCA came out, and he was saying
until
he
you
was going to
just
sue people and everybody else and everything else, and he's like, you're putting my family through hell again, and then he deleted it all. And I was like, what?
that is a sign of a coward. Because a coward, if they were innocent, they wouldn't take shit like that down. They would leave
Mm-mm.
the evidence up to show other people, hey, I am truly innocent. They wouldn't take it down.
It's
That
crazy. It's crazy. But you know what else is nuts is that Richard Allen admitted to being on the bridge that night or that day. Like he said he was there, and it's like Could be Richard Allen in the picture, and maybe he didn't do anything. Maybe they just caught him on a video. It's like a
I heard,
literal. It's like a
and I'm
half a
so
second clip.
I heard that like didn't he own that property they found the girls on? Or am I wrong?
I don't think who Richard.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
heard the
think
rumor that
so.
I can't remember if it was on Guidance's channel or another, but somebody had owned the property when they were looking. I am so sorry that baby toy went off.
Oh, you're fine.
So
I thought it was you. I thought it was your like, grandchild or something at first. I'm glad you said
so
what it was because people were probably like, "Uh oh, what am I
I am so
hearing?"
sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
So I had heard somewhere that it was on somebody's the murders were by the trees had
Mm.
taken place on somebody's property, and they had led the investigators and the search team away from that area. And I thought someone said it was Richard Allen, but I might be wrong. I might be
Ron
like
Logan,
mixing.
people are saying that was another
Okay,
person. His friend, Ron Logan, owned the property and he passed away. So he's deceased now.
okay, okay.
I don't know how he died because I didn't follow this case back then. I kind of started following it a couple years ago. So I wasn't familiar with that. I think that was already done by then.
Yeah, because I knew nothing of this until God had said, "Hey, are you following this?" And then all this stuff came out, and then it was coming across Norse pagan communities, and we were like, "What the fuck?" As soon
Oh
as
my
they mentioned
gosh.
Odinists, we were like, there was a lot of people that were disturbed,
I
and
bet. I bet.
then all of this information came out, and then there were so many red flags. Like, why did it take 5 years for them to come to this decision? And then the whole Purdue professor who confirmed it was an Odinist ritual, and
Yeah.
then
And
now they
like,
can't find that
who
professor.
is he?
Then
Right.
yeah, it's too. There's just too much mystery in this case. It doesn't make
I've got
sense.
more pictures if you're interested in looking at a few that I lifted from
Absolutely,
his
yeah.
Facebook. All right, you're gonna shit. You are gonna shit because this is freaky stuff here. Okay, so this is an actual screenshot from his Facebook, and I'll read it to you. It says Brad Holder, October 4th, 2017. Of course, this is, months after the murders. And it says, after tonight's adventures, hail Manny, Mani. I don't know what that means. And hail Tanya Treat for having my back. And then someone says, is that a tick? And he says, LOL, no, it's not a tick. And then somebody goes, what
Oh,
happened? He says, nothing bad, just injured myself a little. It will be fine.
okay. So Suna, the sun. The sun is different from daylight. That's Dogger, and the night is not, which are two different goddesses. Suna is female. Mani is Mani is male. So they one of the gods felt bad and adopted them, brought them to Asgard, and gave them every god has a purpose or task, just like every human. You have a purpose. You have a purpose in your life. Most people go through trying to find out what their purpose was. So Suna was given the task with pulling the sun across the sky. So it was Mani with the moon,
Mm.
and they're chased by two wolves, uh, Scotty, and the other one is Hati, which means hate. So like hate and envy. They're chased by the wolves, which is why they pull the moon and the sun across the sky.
Okay.
So when you see the moon, we think, okay, well, Mani's pulling the moon across the sky. So that's where that came from. So if
Wow.
these had happened at night, and yes, we do give offerings to all of the gods, even the lesser gods, the servants of the gods, like Bela, Queen
Mm-hmm.
of Bees, Queen of Mead, her husband, Bricvia, who is the goddess or the god of barley and ale, so beer, um, is a servant of Freyr, who's a god of agriculture. There's a lot to go into this. I couldn't cover tonight. It would take like 8 hours.
Right. I
But
get it. I get it.
for him to say that, that means that
Mm-hmm.
something had happened at night that he
Mm-hmm.
had given,
The moon
uh,
credit.
yeah, yeah, that he had given homage to. That tells you what time frame, if you're a Norse pagan, what time frame that it was done.
Okay, and here's another picture. I don't know if I have a date from this. That's interesting as hell.
That I've seen that
Um,
tattoo. So that's actually two. That's Gibo. So the X is Gibo, which is a protection room, and then Isa. Isa means or Isa. Isa means ice, which is like stillness, reflection. Um, and I'm going to freak you guys out. So in the spring, you get happy, you come back, and you start to do things. You plan vacations. Summer, you're on vacations. Everything's full of life. Life is thriving. In the fall, you kind of slow down, which is why you have that stagnant air. And then winter, you're stuck inside, and the whole cabin fever thing because it's teaching you to rest and reflect. That's how our ancestors did. We worked our ass off from the warmer weather months, and then in the winter, it was about survival and reflection, which is why all of the old ladies like to go to Hobby Lobby and get all their crafts this time of year, and why more people stay inside and do puzzles and craft and stuff. That's just a natural human instinct. Our ancestors
mhm.
have done it for thousands of years. So Isa or Isa reflects on that. It teaches you to stop and reflect on things. Slow down because maybe
Mhm.
your life is getting ahead of you. And when they're combined, it's not a very good thing with
It's
with
not
a
a good
protect
thing.
with a protection room. No,
Mm.
and
Would
sometimes you'll
you
see double X's.
why would you why would you combine those two and put a tattoo on your body of that?
Uh, he could have felt a strong connection, just like Guidance and I had talked. I can't remember the girl that was on. Excuse me, the girl that was on the right. I can't
Mhm.
remember if that was Abby
That was
or
Libby.
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 Okay, so there's what some people were saying. Oh, it's an Othala rune. It wasn't. So it's a triangle in two pictures that I saw. A triangle with a stick at the cross. It had two sticks in a inverted triangle, which represents the female womb, and then there was a line at the top. So that symbol is actually not the Norse pagan. That's an old global symbol in the ancient world, which represents the element of earth. So the four elements: fire or heat, uh, water, air, and earth. Now you'll see
Interesting.
the triangle. You'll see the triangle, which inverted. A lot of people say pentagram. They associate with devil worship. That's a lie. Um, or you'll see the upright star and with Wiccans or witches, and they think, okay, well, that's an evil symbol. Those are the 5 points, the five elements, because that's earth, air, fire, water, and then the spirit, the self, the spirit of yourself that you send into the rest of the world and into the cosmos to others.
Interesting. Okay, you ready for the next one, Nils?
Yeah.
I'm going to freak you out now.
Okay. Can
I
you
hear
enlarge
you're
that?
yes. It says I hear you're supposed to send people hearts and kittens on Valentine's Day. You're welcome.
That's Egyptian. That's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
What are the two principal symbols of Easter for Christians, other than the Holy Cross that Christ was crucified on, which was actually a Roman pagan symbol? Christ was crucified on a Roman pagan symbol, and if it was upside down, that was just the worst punishment you could get for crucifixion. But what are the two main ones that you see every Easter on TV, at stores, the things that they push the most? I don't mean baskets, the other two things. Do you know what the answer is?
No. Eggs? You said not the eggs.
And eggs is one.
Oh,
That's a pagan. These are
eggs?
pagans. Yes, these are pagan symbols. Eggs is one.
Easter bunnies.
Correct. So eggs is a symbol of fertility, which spring is a fertility. It's birth. Everything's being reborn. The flowers start to bloom again. The trees start to bud again. And then rabbits, they procreate every 28 days, which is where you heard the term mating like rabbits, but it's a more derogatory term because they're one of the most fertile animals on the planet. They're signs of fertility. So that is the shrew spring uh, fertility symbols, not cats and hearts. That's just sick.
It is. It's evil. It's evil. All right, here's another one. This is the day after, or that was posted the day after the girls were murdered. And then this is what he wrote underneath there. Ha 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 ha. LOL. Happy Valentine's Day, you fuckers. And then we have
Valentine's Day is actually a Christian holiday.
this. So this was what he looked like, though. This is, well, I can't say that. This was posted around the time of the murders. He had this full beard. So that
Okay.
was the only thing that kind of threw me off. But you can't guarantee it was taken then, you know? He could
Yeah.
have posted this and it was an old picture. So that I'm not sure about, but I am sure about all these pictures that I showed you. And it's very disturbing.
So the one question I never get, and I'm surprised nobody in this panel asked, is why do Norse pagans have beards?
I didn't know that they all did.
Most you Google Norse pagans, and most of them you will see will have beards.
Okay, why is that?
It's a sign of masculinity. It separates us from women and children. The gods had
Interesting.
beards. The gods, not the goddesses, the gods had beards. So that was just a sign to say, I don't, if you're feminist, don't hate me, just to say, I am a man. Now, in that same aspect, we are protectors of our family, which is principally what the Mjolnir. Let me take it off for a second. This one has a wolf on it, just because
Let me
of
get rid
our
of it.
culture and lineage. So there is Mjolnir, the hammer that was created by the dwarves and given to Thor. Thor hallows. He protects. He's a protector of mankind. So every realm in our belief is governed by a god. So Folkvanger by Freya, Asgard, of course, by the gods, and Odin himself. Muspelheim by Sutor, Niflheim, Jotunheim by the giants, which we call Jotun or Jotnar for plurals. Anything with AR or R on the end is basically plural in Old Norse and even modern Icelandic and Old Icelandic. Um, Hell is the same way. She governs over hell, her realm of the dead. So the same place of that, which is like our heaven, uh, is also ruled by the goddess of the same name. Midgard, Earth, is the only realm out of nine that is not governed by a god, but it is protected by a god, which is Thor himself.
Thor?
Thor, yes, humans were given this realm of Earth, this realm, to govern ourselves. The gods said they have free reign, and we're not governed by a god. If it was, you would know today. But we are protected by a god and several other gods. This is like a vacation spot for the gods too. I do, Alan. I do blacksmithing.
I was just gonna ask that. That's a good question, Alan. Do you
Yeah.
really?
Yes. Where I was sitting on that side of the porch. On the other side is the anvil and the forge, which we're getting ready to move.
You're
So leather
kidding.
crafting. Actually, I'll show you this too. This is old. This is called Inkla
Inkla.
loomings. So the Sami people and my old ancestors, and if you've ever seen the movie Northman, at the beginning when Nicole Kidman is weaving, that's one way you can do it, like over a chair, whatever. So here it is. Here's the Inkla loom, and you can see
Ooh,
these are
I
called
love
tablet
that.
bands. So these were on everything from clothing to hats to whatever.
I love that.
Bracelets, belts, depending on the width and the design and stuff. And you can still find there's many weavers today
Who's
all over
weaving
the
that?
world.
You or one of your family
All yeah.
members?
Actually, I'm weaving that one.
You are?
I'm weaving that one. Yeah, for a new tunic that I just made.
I love it. I'd love to see your tunics.
And we
You
do
guys make
crafting. I
your
have a wolf hide too.
Wait a minute. Do you guys make your own clothes? Do you sew like do you
Uh,
guys have a sewing machine?
For our tunics, yes, for certain gatherings and things like that, we have ritual garb, ritual clothing that we wear. Um, I do have a wolf hide for certain like Odin rituals.
For
He was a
certain
god of
what?
war. Odin
Oh,
rituals. He's a god of war. He's a
so you
god
do do something with the Odin thing.
of fury. He's a god of rage. He's a god of ecstasy. So if you've ever heard Jordan Peterson say, "Learn to be the most monstrous person you can, the worst of yourself, and then learn how to control that," that is the true discipline. And some of those virtues and principles fit into Norse paganism as well. Every ancient culture had that same belief, which is why you hear better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
This is also from that Brad Holder's Facebook. I forgot to include this. He posted this on February 14th. Tewaz, do you know what this is?
T two was
Tiwaz?
two was, yeah. That's two was is. It looks like an arrow. So point looks like an arrow. Two was is the rune of Tyr,
Like that?
and he's a god of oaths, of justice. He's actually the first god of war until he lost his hand from the wolf Fenrir.
So if he's following this, is this legit um what you
Today's the
would
day to
believe? Do you need me to zoom in?
Today is a day to focus your energy towards what you know is right. Pull on your inner warrior to God and encourage you. This ring can help you succeed in personal endeavor, but only if your intention is aligned with your highest truth. So Tyr was a warrior. A lot of the old swords, even if you look at it from the Saxons to the Old Norse, had that rune carved on their swords to help invoke favor from the gods for victory in combat. Whether it was personal combat to defend your honor against someone else, or if it was a major battle. Um, but Tyr as a god of oaths and justice as well. Basically, that you never go back on your word. So we have, and I'll take it off and show you because this one has obviously wolves on it. This is an oath ring. This is silver. So
Let me see.
what we do with this, what we do with this oath ring is basically if you make an oath, I'm going to be a better father. I'm going to be a better husband. I'm going to be a better grandfather, grandparents. I'm going to do the best for my family. I'm going to uphold the honor of my ancestors. You make that oath before the gods on your ring. And then it's a daily reminder that you do not turn back from that because honor is a very big thing in Old Nordic culture and Old Nordic society. Very big. It is your word, and your word is your bond.
This picture I want to explain because I showed it without any
Yeah.
context.
With the
That's the
rabbits,
kid.
yeah.
Right. That's the kid. That's Logan. That's the one that dated Abby. So just to be clear. And that's the guy with the hat and the Hitler thing. That's his son. That's the boy.
That's a lot of hand. There's a lot of hate and resentment in those eyes.
I agree. I don't like their eyes either. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on with these guys. One more thing, and I promise this is it, but I was looking through to make sure I showed everything.
Ooh, Katie had a
I
good question.
What is it?
I do not mean to interrupt, Jay. She said, if you
No, you're
fail
fine.
at your oath, what are your repercussions? So our gods, honestly, and I've had, there are Norse pagans who are former drug addicts, some who relapsed and things like that. So they're like, I failed at an oath. I promised I'd never do it again. If you constantly try to improve yourself, the gods understand that. If you normally fail at an oath, there's only one um, w- one consequence for that, and that's death. Or you may not go in the afterlife where you hope you would, unfortunately. So, where some in combat would hope for Valhalla to be carried by the Valkyries home to Valhalla, you might go to another realm that you don't want to go to. which reinforces that you better, if you make an oath, if you keep a promise, you better keep it because your life literally depends on it. That's basically how our belief tells us.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the clip they released. It's so hard to see it, but I wanted to show it because
Because
yeah, I typically don't. Wait, where'd it go? Here it is. Let me see if I can make it bigger. I mean, from what I showed you with those hat pictures, man, I mean, it could very easily be that guy.
yeah, because I mean I don't know his gait or his stride, but I know definitely those that recognize that know exactly who he is.
Yeah. You know what else they made note of is that they said, you got to remember he's walking on like an old, like rickety bridge. So he's deliberately stepping on each rung, of the wood. So it may not be his normal gait, but people know who this is.
But
If
yes,
you
and
know him,
if you look at the width of the planks on those boards, even with that edging, there's not that big of a gap, maybe an inch at most.
so
So
you don't think his gait's
he's watching his gait,
yeah, he is. He's
but
definitely looking down.
it looks like he's kind of cautious because of the way that the camera is moving.
He knows they have their phones out, huh?
Yeah,
Like he's walking towards
and he has a bad right knee. If you look at the way he walks,
he does have like a limp.
see how he favors his left leg.
Oh yeah. But would they say that that's maybe the way he's stepping? But
From
I
the
think you're
beginning
right.
of
It
the
almost
video, you
looks
can tell right
weak.
off the bat. These are little details that are very important. You know, if he was Army infantry, did he have a leg or an ankle injury from when he was in the service? Which isn't uncommon with infantrymen.
And Potato has a good point. How he's walking across it with his hands in his pockets, even though it's scary up there.
If you're walking across a bridge like that with your hands in your pockets, number one, it's cold out, and number two, you are not worried about the stability of the bridge. Because if you were worried about falling, your hands would not be in your pockets.
And doesn't it seem a little crazy to you that the FBI can't seem to make this clearer where they can get some more features? I mean, that seems a little silly to me with the technology they have now. They can take, something that's on the tip of a pin that you can't even see of DNA and they can find out who you are. So it really, really strikes me as odd that they can't clear his face up or what's this right here, that white, like
The, yeah, the behavioral assessment unit at the Federal Bureau of Investigation would pick up on that immediately. Because there would be somebody who would watch this video 100 times and pick up on little details.
for
Like
sure.
why does he pick up his left elbow when he's walking? You know, there's something that's heavier in his right jacket pocket
Mhm.
that's bulkier, and he's favoring his left leg versus his right, which tells you that he either has an arthritic
And
knee or a previous injury. Like he could have had a knee surgery, ACL reconstruction, something like that.
now, Nils, look at his left hand, his left. It almost
Hmm.
doesn't even look like it's in a pocket. I can't tell if that's a shirt or if that's a
It's
hand
like
on the hip.
it's like from certain knuckles down is in. His right hand's partially out, which tells you if you're going to fall, what are you going to reach out for first? Your dominant or non-dominant hand? This video tells me he has a right limb, which is common, uh, with dominant side people, and he's right-handed. I guarantee you, he's right-handed.
Because he's got that arm kind of sticking out, like ready to catch himself if he needs to, right? Or
Correct.
whatever he's got is in his right pocket as well. A gun, perhaps.
Correct. Some kind of weapon, it could be. But yeah, if you whatever your dominant side is, that's what you're going to reach out for first. If you're getting ready to fall, if you're unstable, It's never your dominant side.
Yeah, I find this just, I mean, fascinating. Just a two
It's
second
never
clip,
your
but
non-dominant side. Yeah. So there's a lot you can tell from just that clip, and the FBI know it, but they're not releasing anything. The behavioral assessment unit, that was just crazy.
I slowed it down a little bit. Now look at that. Look at that limp.
That is just nuts. I'm going to go outside real quick just because it's getting loud in here.
He's totally leaning to that side, and it looks like
Hmm.
there might be a gun in that pocket.
Not necessarily weight, but he's got an injury, which is why he's favoring. If you've had a lower extremity injury, you from the time, even if it's surgery, you always favor the opposite side. The reason being for that is just it's a natural human instinct to what's the term? Guard, I guess, with the good leg because it's more stable. So obviously, if you've had a previous lower extremity injury, ankle, foot fracture, whatever, knee surgery, knee injury, you're not going to put all your weight on that side. You're going to favor the opposite leg.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Yeah, overcompensating.
Correct. So whatever dominant side for everyone in the chat, whatever your dominant side is, watch what foot that you step with first. If you're right side dominant, you step with your left foot, and vice versa.
God, that's so weird. I don't know if there's any recordings on his. I'm gonna have to look and see if there's any videos of his voice. I just have a really hard time making out that guy's down the hill. It's so it's
Even
so
with,
distorted to me.
I'm not going to say dad bod because of the way that that coat is. That's a short waistcoat. That's not a parka. So, but with the bulk that's in that right side, and most people that are right side dominant will keep things on their right side. They'll keep like their phone on their dominant side in case something happens, they can get to it, but they'll keep like packs of cigarettes. But I wonder if he has a bag of runes because if you look at the right uh, pocket of that coat, hand pocket, versus the right side is bulkier. You can see it towards the center, and I wonder if he has something in there, including maybe a bag of runes, or uh, who knows, something small. But
They
it's
well, they did say that those there was sticks at the site that looked like they were cut
Mhm.
with a saw versus broke. What would that mean?
So like a small handsaw.
Yeah, like somebody wouldn't have would have brought them is what they were.
Hold on, God, is it catching up again? But BH hurt his right ankle early 2017. That pic he posted. So there you go. That's why he's favoring his right leg because he did have a
But
previous right ankle injury. So
yeah,
that
but that's
confirms
not
it.
the one. That's not the one they have arrested though. That's Brad Holder. She's talking.
Gotcha.
You're like, there you go. Oh
Brad
shit.
Holder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Brad Holder.
I thought this was the. Oh, no, not. Yeah, I thought
This
this
is
was the same guy.
this is
They're
Richard
saying
Allen. This is
so.
who they're saying this
They're
is the
saying
dude
this
that
is Richard. That looks like Brad
right. They're
with
saying this
with the
is
caveats.
Richard. Hmm.
I think prosecution is on cocaine. That looks like Brad Holder.
It does to me too. I almost see that stash.
Their prosecutor is probably so damn dumb he can't spell dad backwards.
I mean, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Because, like you said, his shoulders, the width of his shoulders, the cap.
Zoom in on the face if you can.
I'll try. I'm worried
I
it's going to
know it's
get
a little
too
bit distorted.
pixelated.
You'll have to have like national security agency shit, but you look at the width of the eyes, the length and the girth of the nose,
I'm
the
looking at the
distance between the,
nose,
yes,
but I can't see
that's
the
Brad Holder.
eyes.
That is Brad Holder.
Let's play it zoomed in. Ooh, shit. Did you see that?
Yeah. So if you do that and then go back to his picture, or if you can put them side by side, I don't know if you can do that on
I don't know
StreamYard.
if I can do
God,
it on this thing.
Guidance hasn't taught me this yet. But yeah, that's Brad Holder. I would bet the title to my home.
I wonder if I can add another screen. Well, see, I'm cheap. I don't pay for the StreamYard because I don't use it enough.
Oh, I'd do my
Present. Oh, wait.
$25 a month just to put videos and shit up.
Um. Oh, here we go.
If you think that's Brad Holder, put a one in chat. If you
Part
think it's
of.
Richard Allen,
I wish I could bring them
hit a
both
two.
up. Yeah, one is Brad Holder, two Richard Allen. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more.
And don't do it because Neil said so. I want your own opinion. Formulate your own opinion.
Is that worse? Is it too big?
No, that's perfect.
I'll play it a few times so that we can go back and replay it later. Everybody's putting ones. Three is undecided.
Three is fair.
All right, let's go out
Yes,
one.
Queen. This is Guppy. He was licking my head. You can see the most recent video on my IG with him cleaning my head last night.
I know. I was wondering if that was a fanny pack or if that was a shirt hanging out.
That's a shirt hanging out on the bottom right is untucked.
But see, we don't know either if this video was taken.
He's wearing a button-up shirt with the blue pullover jacket, quarter zip. It looks like maybe a full jacket and only.
Oh, it looks
Bad
like a
boys like
wind.
the
That looks like
well,
a
like yeah, almost like
windbreaker, not
a
a
Columbia jacket is another one. It's definitely a nylon coated jacket. It could be
Why are they saying
with
it's
a
a canvas
yes, no,
Carhartt?
yes, no. That's not a canvas Carhartt. That's a nylon lined dark blue jacket with a hood, and it's probably got a hood that folds into the collar.
Yeah, it's like one of the windbreaker material. That
Hmm.
does not look like a canvas duck
And no
cloth.
scarf, and he's got a T-shirt up underneath.
God, that looks like Brad Holder to me. It's so weird.
That's, I guarantee, just from that picture, look at the stash, the nose, the girth, the length of the nose, and the distance of the eyes. And then right now, if you brought up Brad Holder, it would look like the exact same person. The FBI should have caught on to that. I'm very disappointed. But it's not the first time I've been disappointed in the federal government.
I'm just blown away. I mean, I'm literally watching this on a StreamYard, which is the shittiest quality you can have. And I'm stunned. I mean, look at the nose. Look at the outline of the nose.
By the way, hit like and subscribe if you're here, please.
Thanks. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely got something. He's got his hand in his coat pocket on the right,
Hmm.
and it looks like he's got something pushed way in there, in that pocket.
In that right pocket, which means he's right-handed. Again, I guarantee you, he's right side dominant.
Uh
Now,
huh.
if you can bring up another picture of him to see
Yeah,
where
I
his
can.
hands are at, and
Let's look at the
with
ones
his
I had
picture.
up before.
Yes, yes, I agree.
Let's look at those. Ooh. Okay. Let's go back. Ooh.
And if he is an Odinist, he's being protected. Right hand dominant. You don't take a picture. You don't take a selfie
Yeah,
with your
you're
non-dominant hand.
right. You're right. You're right. Boom.
There
Boom.
it is.
Boom. Um.
Look at that. Compared to that
There's
picture right
oh,
there.
there's the whole body
Yeah.
shot. Yeah.
The one you had before, and then that one there.
Yes, it's that fucking same. It's like identical.
Hmm.
Boom, boom. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do it on my phone, and I'm gonna do a side by side, and then I'll send it to myself because I need to see these two together now. I was looking at it earlier, and I'm like, something is not right with Richard
Richard
Allen
Allen
because
is
this is Yeah,
He
like this
he's a scapegoat, but I guarantee, excuse me, damn meat hiccups.
damn
More
mead.
more than one person committed this crime. I will say that.
Well, they're saying that this dude here, this Brad Holder, is like the ringleader, and like this Elvis guy was like a fanboy of him.
We need to bring that up actually because I've heard a lot of people talk about the term, which he was involved with, uh, Gothi, is what we call Gothi, or
Gothy?
Godi in Middle English and Modern English, Godi. Yes.
What's
So
that?
Godi, it's pronounced Gothi, Gothi. Gothi is like in our religion, like a priest devoted to the gods. They're normally the ones that were the protectors of the temples, of the old temples. They arranged all of the communal feasts, set all of the dates for the holidays, uh, for the general populace, basically. So yeah, they were considered the priests. So a lot of Odinists, and there's some other Norse pagan um, groups that their leader is considered a Gothi, or Godi,
Gothy.
Godi.
Damn
Yeah,
mead.
yeah. So if you type up Gothi or Godi, and include that with Norse pagan or Norse paganism, you'll see a whole lot of information pop up. Norse is not Viking. Viking is an occupation, just like you're
Yeah,
an
what is that?
American.
A lot of people are talking about oh, you know
Remote
what? I
soldier.
want to ask you before I forget.
Hmm.
Someone in chat asked, they said that they're really super interested in history and they're wondering if there's any movies or documentaries that would be good to watch to learn more.
Okay, so the most, and you're going to be off from it. It's going to throw you off a little bit. That's basically, it's an old Danish story from the Saxo Grammaticus, that Shakespeare stole and made Hamlet from. Um, Robert Eggers made a movie from it. It's very recent. It's called The Northman, and it has an all-star cast. Nicole Kidman and a few other actors. But that will tell you a lot about our culture and our belief, and plus it has the Ulfhednar in there, and Sweden's very own boy is in there as well as the main character. So, yes, check out The Northman. It's on Amazon Prime. Um, I can't remember if I think it's free now. You had to buy it a couple of months ago, but yeah, The Northman. Midsummer. Don't watch Midsummer. Midsummer's fucked up. It's a horror story based on one of our best holidays. Oh,
A
oh my
horror
gosh.
story?
Okay, yes, it is. It's a murder horror type thing. So Midsummer back home in Sweden. You're gonna make me put out my cigarettes for this. Midsummer is our best holiday, our greatest holiday. So the beginning of June is like Sweden National Day. Okay, it's a good holiday, but Midsummer um, is it falls normally around the Friday of the summer solstice. Everybody comes out. We have surstrumming. We have vodka, which we call schnapps, strawberries and cream,
Ooh,
whole
schnapps.
whole potatoes. Yeah, we call it schnapps.
Peach
So
schnapps.
not peach schnapps. It's just vodka. Vodka is a very big thing,
Mm.
and our vodka is from winter wheat. It's not from potatoes and rice like the Russians or the Koreans. So that's true vodka. Uh, so everybody's outside. There's lots of parties, festivals, fireworks, everything like that. It's our biggest holiday nationally in midsummer, and they've tried several times to change it to the actual national holiday. Surströmming is our fermented herring. Everybody gets out and gets together because it's the beginning of summer and everything's abundant. What makes that important, if you live in America, you have to understand this because the weather tries to constantly kill you in America. So you're thinking summer shit, it's 100 degrees, it's hot, it's muggy, it's horrible. Our summers are like 50, 40, 50 degrees at night, Fahrenheit, and about 20 degrees Celsius, so like 70 degrees um, Fahrenheit in the summer. We do get our occasional 80-degree heat waves. It's very rare. So our summers are very comfortable. compared to our winters when it can get down to like negative 34,
Oh,
negative
forget that.
74. Yeah.
Negative 74?
Yeah,
Nuh-uh.
because we're 56 degrees latitude and above. We're colder. We're closer to the Arctic Circle. And of course, at night, and especially this time of year, and February, March, October into November, the aurora borealis, the northern lights, are more common. So, which comes with the months of darkness. So, summer is a big deal. Everybody can get out. We can travel. We can do things. We have a law called right to roam. So, if you're an outdoorsman, and I want all the viewers to listen, if you're an outdoorsman, you like to hunt, you like to kayak, you like to fish, you like to hike, you like to camp, you can go anywhere in Scandinavia, Finland, Norway, Sweden, even on other people's property, as long as you're within 70 meters, like 150 feet from a private dwelling. You can have your own campfire and do any of these things. The five major lakes in Sweden, along the coast, for free. You can literally backpack forever for the rest of your life if you want to, and it's not against the law.
No kidding.
We call it the right to roam. And the reason that law
The
is so
right to
important,
room. I like
right
that.
to roam, roam,
Right,
ROAM.
room. Oh,
Yeah.
Rome.
Yes, right to
Right to
roam law.
Rome.
Yeah, is what, and it basically in English that's what we call it. And you can do that forever. It's been like that for thousands of years. So they actually made it the law.
Good night, Emily.
Good night,
Okay.
Emily. It was good to see you here. Scholar.
That is awesome. Listen, do you see this? What do you guys think? They wanted me to put his chest. I don't know, man. I'm not. I don't know. I'm stumped on these sketches and these guys, these videos.
Nomadic hippies. Yeah, Deb. Yeah, Robin.
Glug.
We just
What's
love
glug?
nature. Glug.
They said two
Oh,
great Swedish
oh,
things: glug at Christmas and these cookies with only butter, flour, and cream of tartar.
yes, Glug and Yulmust. Yulmust. Yulmust is like the closest equivalent in America is like cheerwine or cherry coke. We only have that during Yule, normally the beginning of December. But the butter cookies, yes, we have another tradition we call fika, and that came from basically like a coffee prohibition. So coffee is KAFFE. Um, so it's basically coffee spelled backwards, which is fika. And we do it every day between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. And no matter what job you do, where you're at in the country, everybody stops for 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, and you have coffee and you have sweets like cardamom, which cardamom buns. It's like cinnamon rolls, and
Really?
other sweets, cakes, cookies. Yeah, you just stop what you're doing and you socialize with your coworkers and hey, what are you doing this weekend? And how's the family and things like that. And we do it every single day, every single day.
Dang, I love that.
If you actually look on my channel on the live streams, you'll still see just a ton of fika streams because I do it like a digital fika. We'll get coffee, and
Fika.
most people are like, okay, coffee, creamer, sugar. No, if you're going to drink it, you enjoy it. So we'll have like chocolate coffee. It's very, very common. Very
Ooh,
common.
I've got to check out the fika.
Yes,
Is that what it is?
it's
Fika?
fika. Fika,
Fika.
Fika. It's a
F
human.
I
You can
K.
even Fika,
Do
and
you
you
do
can
like
Google it.
regular streaming, Nils? Are you
Um,
on like a
I
regular
will.
schedule or are you just kind of do it as you
Not
can?
really, but I'm going to have one Tuesday or Wednesday with pumpkin cookies. So,
Oh
just
my
because it's seasonal,
gosh.
yes. And
What
we
time do
just
you
sit.
usually go live?
I try to around 3 p.m. I try to keep it within that range in America. I know some
Can
people
you let
work.
me know? Like, can you text me and let me know
Absolutely.
because I want to come to your live and I want to see the pumpkin cookies.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
interested in your life now. I want
Yeah.
to see it all.
Yeah.
Gustave says, don't
Lutefisk.
open Lutefisk.
Lutefisk. No, no. Oh, shit. I
Lutefisk.
got to put the surstrumming. Hold on. And you can look this up. This is a Reddit passage. This is fermented herring.
Fika. We're
If
all
you
going to be
dropped
doing fika.
If you dropped 5 cans in eastern Ukraine right now, the Russians would flee. If you dropped 5 cans of surstrumming, don't try to get it in America because it's like $80 for 300 grams. which is like a
What
10
is
ounce can.
surstrumming?
Surströmming is fermented herring. Herring
Is what?
is a
Oh,
herring. It's fermented herring. Herring is very common to the Baltic Sea. Our ancestors ate it. Norway and Sweden, it's very common, especially surströmming. It's the main thing at for midsummer. It's one of our main dishes, and we put it on a flatbed that's square. It's almost like a pita bread, but a square.
uh-huh.
And we'll put herring sauce, which is like a tartar. It's almost like tartar sauce in America, but with herring.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then we'll put onions and tomatoes, and we'll eat it open faced, or you can eat the herring separate, and then and then eat the bread separate.
Do you like that? Or do you just
Absolutely.
is it
Oh yeah.
you do like
Oh yeah.
that?
Yeah. You got to remember because we have cold months. We have very cold months, and because the sickness is so prevalent, and you see it in America in October, they call it flu and pneumonia season. So this is the time of year when you want to increase the immunity of your body. So tomorrow is house bloat, what we call house bloat. Um,
House bloat?
back home, house bloat by the Old Norse. So this is the second of three harvest seasons. The first one's in August, second one's in September, and then October 31st is the last one. So you want to eat lots of nuts, you want to eat lots of fruits and vegetables, raw vegetables, uh, stews, and fish, and the oils from that. It not only cleans the bad toxins out of your bodies, but it hydrates your skin. As the air becomes cooler, the oils in the nuts and the fruits and vegetables and the fish will actually harden your skin and protect you because your epidermal layer is your largest organ in your body. It is you can Google that too if you don't believe me. It is the biggest organ in your body is your skin.
That's so
And
interesting. It
and
makes
you,
sense now.
yes, and your skin is actually your first protection against disease and sickness, especially this time of year. So our ancestors knew that thousands of years before medical science.
So do you do that?
And
Do you start
yes,
eating even though you're not in that bitter cold? It's
I'm
still
not
good
as
like it's
I'm
still
in the
good for
mount
you to do.
I'm in the mountains in the eastern United States. So I won't give my exact location out, but in the eastern United States. And yes, we get snow. Yes, it gets cold. Yes, sickness is abound. And that's why we still do those same things. I get sick once a year. That's it.
Like a cold.
That's it. Cold, stomach virus, whatever. I get sick
How
once
did
a
you
year and then
guys
I'm
fare
done.
with COVID? How did you get through that? Did you guys get sick?
I got it twice.
Did you
I was the last employee in the ER before COVID hit, so I got hired before COVID. Um, I went into every COVID room because we had staff who had like young children and grandchildren, and I said, "You stay here. I will go in. My children are grown. I'm not afraid of death, so I will go in. So you don't take that back home to your children." And never got it. And at work, they couldn't understand. They said, why, how have you not? Everybody else got COVID. They said, how have you not got COVID yet? So I just jokingly told them, COVID doesn't want to live in my body. It doesn't want to try to fight me. But I did end up getting
It's
COVID.
probably true.
I did end up getting COVID the first time in 2022, and it wasn't from work. My son works for Toyota Motor Manufacturing, and he got it from some people at work and brought it home. And then this
So did
past
you
year,
did
the
it go through your
same.
whole house or
Yeah, pretty much. Him and my other son got it, and then me and my wife got it. And then it happened again this past January. And there was a joke in our home because this past variant, this past January, was called the Kraken variant. And of course, Kraken's a Swedish term. So I said, of course, the Swede we get the fucking Kraken variant. But
right? I feel like cuz I didn't get it the first round either. I got sick like earlier this year and that was the only time I got sick. And I
yeah,
feel like that first time around I didn't get whatever that was.
yeah,
So,
it wasn't the hype they said it was. It
see look
that's I
Robin
mean,
the same
don't
way.
believe.
She didn't get it
Yeah.
till 2022.
So,
Interesting. That's cool though. That's you have so much neat stuff to share
yes,
with the
yes, and though
world.
though I work in the hospital, We do still today use a lot of natural medicine. So stinging nettle, nettle pot, nettle, the scratchy little leaves that hurt you. In America, they call it the weed. That's a multi-use power plant. And back home in Scandinavia, we make teas from it. We make soup from it. It helps your immune system. If it's that time of the month and you're a female, it completely kills the symptoms. Um, Pine tea from just pine shoots, the pine needles, highest source of vitamin C in the wintertime you can find. I'll be doing bushcraft videos too this winter where I'm making pine tea.
Do
But
you
if you
do
do
your
end up,
sorry, go ahead.
so if you do end up catching the Rona, or if you have a cold, instead of going through all these modern medicines that might kill you, I'm not saying they're all bad. Um, Pineapple orange juice, and I say pineapple orange juice because it just tastes better. Pineapple has an enzyme to it called bromelain, which is the world's best natural expectorant. It's like Mucinex times 1,000, and it'll clear
Really?
it up in 30 seconds. Yeah, you can ask my wife if you don't believe me.
Are the pineapples that we get like from the grocery store any good though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they
Because you know how
contain those same
sometimes
chemicals.
we get that produce and, sometimes it's not even good for you once it's in your body, because of
Hmm.
everything how it's been grown and how old it is and all that stuff. So pineapple is the magical fruit.
Hmm. All of the and one of the doctors and I got into an argument about this. So, and I'm not trying to change the purpose or the subject
No, you're
or the
good.
topic
I'm
of the
I'm
stream.
loving this.
So all of the doctors today will say, well, we have all these advancements in medicine, which a lot have made great strides. But you have to consider the source of those same ingredients that they use for modern medicines. White willow bark is aspirin. Not many people know that.
White willow bark.
Yes. Wild lettuce is called opiate lettuce because it has the same effects as opiates without the side effects of opiates. It's a sedative. But if you have an allergy to hay fever, it could make you very sick or kill you. So you have to be careful. You
Yeah, I
have to
mean
know what
all
your body
these
can and can't do.
all the natural remedies, like how do you feel about like some like the natural remedies for like depression and like the black cohosh, for
I'm glad you asked that.
anxieties,
Mint is a natural anti-anxiety. I drink mint tea almost every day.
mint
It
tea.
mint tea, just spearmint, regular mint. Yeah,
He's like mint tea.
just
Mint
you.
tea.
Yeah, mint tea. So if you like iced tea or hot tea or whatever, for
So not
every
not
however many
English
bags of black
teas.
tea that you yeah, however many bags of black tea that you put in when you make your tea at home,
Uh-huh.
take one of those out and put in a bag of mint tea, and
Okay.
it will calm your system. But you're like, Nils, I have these racing thoughts at night and all this anxiety, and I can't slow my mind down. Drink lettuce
Yeah.
water. So take
Lettuce
either
water.
romaine lettuce or take a half a head of iceberg lettuce at first, boil it, let it cool, put in a glass of ice if you want to hurry up and drink it. There's two chemicals, starts with an L. I can't remember the name of them right now. You can Google this too.
Alkanoline or some shit.
It's
Sound
like
good?
lenolethylene or
Linolene.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Lethylenoline.
So if you drink that lettuce water after it's cooled, in 20 minutes you'll be asleep. In 10 minutes you'll be completely calm. But 20 minutes you won't be able to keep your
You
eyes
have to
open, and
cool it off.
you'll yeah let it cool. Boil it, strain it, let it cool,
Can
or
you
you can
make it
put
ahead of
ice in it.
time? Keep it in the
Yep,
fridge?
absolutely. Drink it, and in 20 minutes you'll be asleep.
Can it can it be iceberg lettuce or is that
Iceberg
shit?
or iceberg or romaine lettuce, it doesn't matter.
Mm. In 10 minutes he guarantees you'll be out like a light.
20 minutes. 20 minutes you
20
won't be
oh
able to keep
20
your eyes
minutes.
open.
You
10
drink
minutes
that
you'll be
shiz, 20 minutes you're out.
10 minutes you'll have this sense of calm. You'll be completely calm and chill. In 20 minutes you will
Let's
be
go
asleep.
through that process again. So you get the lettuce, you
Hmm.
put it in, you boil some water, you put the lettuce in there. How long do you
Correct.
boil it for?
It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long you want it to. But
If
five
you
minutes, no
let it
less than
boil
five
longer,
minutes.
is it more potent or does
It's
it just
still
get a
it's
certain potency
no
and it's there?
as soon as the heat hits it, it's going to extract it. So, but no less than 5 minutes. You want a good rolling boil. If you get it to a rolling boil, cut it off. If you want to boil it longer, it doesn't matter. It's just you're just
Does it
making more time
taste
for
bad
yourself.
or is it just like tasteless, like
It
dirt?
it doesn't taste like water. I will say that, and it
So
does
throw
not
some
taste
ice
like
cubes in there and
yes.
chug it. How much you got to drink?
Boil it, strain it, and just a simple 8 to 12 ounce glass.
So a horn glass full of lettuce water will have you out like a light in 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
Guaranteed from Nils.
correct.
I
Yes.
think we should try. Can you add a mint tea bag to it? What will that do?
If you want to, I mean, you're still going to
Double
be asleep in
whammy.
20. Yeah, you're still going to be asleep in 20 minutes. You're going to be completely calm in 10.
AD wants to know what's good for anxiety when you're still on the shift.
There's lots of things that you have to do outside of life too. Mint tea is very good because you don't lose energy, you don't lose focus, you don't get tired. But mint tea is like a physiological reset to your body. There's another thing, and I'll type this in chat because I know a lot of people. If I say it, it's going to be harder for them to try to research. This is
Haunting
why
Haley says she swears by pineapple. That's awesome.
pineapple is the shit. Phyton sides, phyton sides.
Who?
So, phyton sides. I posted it in chat. So
Oh, phyton sides. I see.
this is part of the culture, nature. This is part of the ancient knowledge that our ancestors knew. And we're at a pinnacle. I need everyone to understand that we're at a pinnacle right now in human history where all of the ancient beliefs of our ancestors, all of the practices that they did, science is now able to prove that. So that we're at a peak right now. We're at a pinnacle right now. Phyton sides is a natural chemical produced by trees. Conifers have the most. Um, it's used for antifungals, to antibacterials, to repelling insects.
Conifers?
Yes, conifers of all the trees produce more phytoncides than, say, an oak or an elm or a sycamore. But to humans, the chemical chain reaction with humans, induces a sense of calm, induces a sense of peace. It lowers blood pressure. It reduces your heart rate, which is why they tell you if you're mad, if you need to calm down, take a stroll through the park, walk through nature, because these trees produce this phytoncides constantly.
Phyton sides.
Yes.
This is so interesting. Okay, so do you have a remedy? We have a problem with Robin.
Hmm.
Her dog got literally attacked all over its belly by fire ants
Mm.
tonight. Do
Hmm.
you have any remedy that she can do for that? Plus, she got
Uh,
attacked too.
uh, man, um, I would teach you to make jewelweed. It's a really good salve, but in a heart, just in a pinch, just take raw honey. If you're not allergic, you don't have any adverse effects, and Crisco. 50-50. Just make a paste out of it. Keep it in a bag, jar, or whatever. It's also good for baby rashes, burns, scrapes, things like that. It'll heal
Honey
within
and what?
24 hours. Crisco, your Crisco vegetable oil.
Crisco. Okay.
Yep. Just mix it 50-50.
You guys like that honey, don't you?
Oh yeah, honey is it's a natural antibacterial.
It's got so many like hair,
Yeah,
skin,
it's an yeah. Meat is even though it's fermented,
mead.
it's still considered an antibiotic.
I can't wait to look and see if I'm sure we have mead around here. We have so many liquor stores with like everything.
Oh yeah, there's Dansk mead, Odin's blood in America. Camelot mead is really good.
Camelot.
Yeah, or I
So,
might just have to send you some pine mead this winter.
pine mead. That
Yeah.
sounds interesting. That
So if you're
sounds like it
sitting,
would be really stiff, like
if
strong.
you're, if you're sitting in a pine forest in front of a campfire, because I put cracked juniper berries in it. So if you can imagine in the middle of winter with snowfall, sitting in front of a campfire in a pine forest, that's what it tastes like.
Mm. Say that again. It tastes like
If you
what?
are sitting, if you are sitting in front of a campfire in a pine forest in the middle of winter with snowfall. That's what the pine mead tastes like.
Ooh, I like that. So it's kind of
Yeah.
spicy.
It's
Got a
got a
little
piney flavor,
spice.
but it's got a smoky flavor to it. But you hit the back end of it is that sweetness from the mead.
It sounds like a sipper. Mead, I could probably drink more of. Is that like a sipper drink?
Mead,
No, not
yeah,
mead. What you're just talking about.
the pine mead, yeah.
Yeah, the
I
pine
drink
mead.
I've drank since we started. I've drank 2 liters of mead, so 2 bottles of wine for most people. Um, because of our heritage, I can drink 8 to 10 liters of mead in one sitting.
Damn.
But I normally don't because we practice an old um, principle called logum. Logum, Lagom. Did I?
Lagom.
Yeah.
God,
Okay.
you're on it. You
Logum.
got it in chat.
Logum,
Lagom.
basically, in Swedish, it means just the right amount. So in English, it means moderation. So everything you do in life, with your hiking, camping, eating, drinking, you do it just till you feel content and comfortable. No more, no less. And this is how you will have a balanced life. This is how you will have a happier life, especially with a lot more stress in the world today. This is
Yeah.
also why we have fika, because fika forces you to stop and slows you down.
I like
And it,
that.
yeah,
Isn't
this
it
is,
Italy too that they have like nap time or something during the workday? I think that's a good idea too.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that mead I got to try for sure. Someone wants to know if you will be our official cult leader.
not, not a cult leader. So, in our belief, there are 3 witches, basically, vulva, that weave your fate when you're created, past, present, and future. The choices you make determine, but your end fate is still going to be the same. That's what's written in the sagas and the Eddas. But the old history, the oral history that's given, that's not produced, is you're not thrown into this world alone. You're given 3 gifts. Most people go most of their life and not recognize these gifts or realize what these gifts are for. You're not just thrown into earth and say, have at it. This is who you are. These people have these gifts and don't even know it. My one gift is always stronger than the other 2. Uh, so you wonder why people can be around animals and never get bit or seriously harmed. Um, why people can just read others, why people can feel the emotions of others and makes them just better counselors and things like that. Uh, so my primary purpose is a healer. I have 2 other gifts, including premonition and animal speak or animal behavior. So I can look at any animal and know exactly what they're thinking or feeling at any time. I have the innate ability to be able to heal people. And when most people think that, they think, okay, doctors, they give me medicine, they send me home and make me feel better. But you don't heal people when you do that. There's a spiritual side, there's a mind side to it, which is why I've been telling you these other ways to be able to sleep. But man, I still have these racing thoughts. Do a crossword puzzle. Uh, the easy ones. Don't do like the ones from the newspaper. Go get the cheap, easy ones. It sharpens your mind. It exercises your mind the same way you do your body, and you will be asleep. Color. Do coloring books.
It's
Do
something you
word
don't have to
searches.
think too much, right? You're not like
Correct.
engaging and
Yes.
um it's just like when you're on your phone before you lay down. That's our worst mistake
But and
is
people have games, but the games, this is the worst part about games. I'm playing Monopoly Go, but then you run out of dice and then you get pissed off and then you're like, fuck, I need something else to do. But when you're doing word searches, when you're doing puzzles and exercising your mind, like word searches, crossword puzzles, coloring books is a puzzle, or even do a puzzle. Just do it like a simple 500-piece easy puzzle before you go to bed. You win every time. You exercise your mind. You get that satisfaction of achieving that goal. And it's a small goal, it's not a very large goal. And then your mind and your body's relaxed and you will be asleep.
that's a good point. That's a good point. because you're on a more positive vibe when you lay down. You're not. Yeah, I think our phones are the worst for our psyche.
Yeah, they really are. Well, to a point. I mean, it's a tool, just like a shovel. It's just not intended to what it's supposed to be for.
Potato says her problem is she has to finish it and ends up all night. I'm the same
That's
way.
read a book, set a goal. I'm going to read 2 chapters and I'm done. And I
And
guarantee you by
stop
the
there.
second chapter, you'll be ready for bed.
Yeah, so
So
don't feel like you have to finish it. One more question though from September.
yeah,
She asked a few times. Is there anything you can recommend to detox off of opiates to make that a little less?
yes, water, no caffeine, no stimulants. Coffee is a stimulant, soda is a stimulant. Stay away from high fructose corn syrup. It destroys your GI system. It destroys your pancreas. You'll end up becoming a diabetic if you drink that too often.
Um,
Anything
and
for
that's
high
in
fructose corn.
everything.
Most countries in Europe ban it. America is still common because it's a cheap sweetener.
Hmm.
So for the detox off opiates, and this is the hardest thing, September, the hardest thing you will ever do in life is fight yourself. That's the hardest thing you will ever accomplish, but it's worth it. And I tell people, whether you give up or you finish it, it's going to hurt. But what are you going to gain from that? That's the biggest thing. What accomplishment do you want to have out of that? If you give up, it's just the cycle is going to repeat. But if you hurt and you suffer that pain through it and you defeat that, then you're going to come out a better person at the end.
And
So
strong.
definitely flush. And it's going to take at least 14 to 17 days, but no stimulants, no coffee, things like that. Because then you'll have more clarity after a few days. You're going to hurt. Your body's going to hurt because that's your
Hmm.
body's way of telling you you need this. You've survived off of this. And if you don't do this again, then you're going to keep vomiting. You're going to keep aching. You're going to have insomnia. You're not going to be able to sleep. But that's not forever. It's only a short term, and
Hmm.
it will
You can
pass.
get
I
through it.
promise you, it will pass. Yes. And shit,
It's
comment or
hard, yeah.
something, message me, and I'll be like, hell, I will help you. I will help you get through
Oh,
it.
that's so nice.
When
Thank
you
you for
think you
that.
can't, yeah, that's my biggest pet peeve. When you think you can't finish it, you will. You don't see the greatness in yourself yet.
But it's there. It's
Yes.
there.
And don't try a substitute. Substitutes don't work. Some people say I'll do Suboxone. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
You have
it's
to
just
trick your
another,
mind
it's
into something.
replacing. Yeah.
Stay active constantly. Exercise is a great thing too. And I don't mean go to the gym, run on the treadmill, hit a bunch of weights. Do functional exercises. Clean your home.
Stay
If it's
busy.
clean, clean it again. Yeah. Functional exercises is what our ancestors used to do. You actually think we went out in the wood and picked up a log and no, we were building stuff. Uh, we were building boats. We were building homes. We were creating things.
You know
Um,
what, Nils? I
building
feel
water
like we
sources.
have too much time to think these days, and we're not staying busy enough physically. Like you said, when you're building stuff, you're not just physically moving around, you're thinking, and the time's passing and you're not realizing it, and before you know it, you're starving and it's dinner time, right? You don't have time to think
Correct.
about that other side stuff. But you're
Hmm.
so encouraging and amazing, truly. I want to
Yes,
thank you
because
for giving me so much of your time tonight.
I appreciate you. I am honored. But remember, you cannot live a positive life with a negative mind. You have to stay positive. So when everything starts to go wrong, don't go with it.
Find that silver lining, basically. And because there always is a silver lining. There's never,
Yeah.
it's never complete doom and gloom. There's never anything you can't come back from. That's how I feel. Looks like you've got a
That's right.
lot of fans here in my chat. Mr. Mead. I'm going to call you
Mr.
Mr.
Mead.
Mead.
Never. I have another friend that calls me the beard.
The beard. Well, thank you so much
We,
for giving me 3 hours of your time tonight. I appreciate it. And I know you joined
oh,
an hour early. He was like,
Yeah.
I joined the live an hour. I'm backstage an hour early, so I appreciate you. This has been wonderful, and I would love to have you back if you would be willing to come back.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We need to do this more often.
You're very uplifting, and I like that. It's very refreshing in the world of true crime, because we tend to, it can be very, very dark and very heavy, and sometimes you need to decompress from that and take a breath and refresh yourself.
Yes, just remember it's a bad day, not a bad life.
Yes, and thank you to your wife for sharing, for allowing us to have you for 3 hours this Friday night.
Oh yeah, she's my queen. She's such a beast. She's
That's awesome.
Danish, actually.
She's Danish.
Yeah.
You guys are very interesting. You could be like a reality show.
Oh shit.
A day in
I
a
hope
life.
YouTube don't start
I
that.
mean, come on, living off the land. A lot of people would love to watch what you do. Just what you do on a normal daily basis that you probably don't think twice about. People would find
And
absolutely fascinating.
there's going to be some badass content to come out this fall and winter, I guarantee you. We actually have a video that premieres tomorrow because most of the summer after the crops are planted, we just travel. I mean, that's just in our blood. It's in our genetics.
You're up and gone.
Yes, my ancestors would plant the crops and then go raid, and then come back by the fall in time for harvest, and then just settle down and chill for winter. And so we don't obviously raid; we just travel. We still do the travel side of it. So
That's
you'll get
awesome.
to see it. It's actually the end of
Yay.
the summer. We did a 2-part series this summer, so you'll get to see here in
And
America.
when is that coming out? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Okay. And is your whole family in your videos?
Some are. Some. Not all my children, but some.
Nice. Well, we look forward to getting an inside view on your family and what's going on in the Nils world, the mead world,
The mead world, that's it.
the mead world. Well,
And I
thank
will
you
teach
so
you how
much.
to make mead.
Yes, gonna have to do a tutorial. And I know a lot of people are going to be boiling some lettuce. And you guys, let us know in the comments if you try that. I want to hear how it worked for you. Geez,
Yes,
thank you so much,
absolutely.
Nils.
You are most welcome. And in Sweden, we say "Jag hoppas att ni alla får en ny bra natt," which means I hope you all have a wonderful night.
Back at you. I'm not going to try to repeat that one, but this is my horn cup until I get a real horn cup.
I'll have to send
Cheers
you one.
to you, Nils. I would love it. Cheers, Nils.
Skål.
Skull. All right, you guys, have a great night. Thanks for all your wonderful questions. And it's been so enlightening. I cannot wait to replay this because I didn't get to pick up on everything. So now I get to rewatch and learn, and we will have Nils back again. He was wonderful. Mead Wolf. The Mead Wolf, go sub to him. And we are going to end on that note. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. And I think we can dance it out with something here. We can find something to dance it out to, I think. How about we dance it out to just a stupid photo and Punani's jam. Here we go. Dance it out, guys. I'm out.
Roly-poly, daddy's little fat.
I don't give a damn. I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. Damn, damn. I don't give a damn. Damn, damn. I don't give a damn. Damn, damn. I don't give a damn. You wanna be, you wanna be, you way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. 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 You're mad at me for not giving you comfort. You say that I'm away so much and now you don't feel the way you felt when we were younger. But that's okay for me, 'cause I don't give a damn. I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. 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 I don't give a damn.
Hi Jennifer, hi Jennifer, hi Jennifer, hi Jennifer, hi Jennifer, hi Jennifer, hi Jennifer.